Hey, what's going on, folks? How you doing? This is James from MyTakeOnReality. Welcome to the show. Just give me a 1 in the chat so that I can be sure that you can see me, you can hear me, that everything is copacetic, and we can move forward. All right. I see Wendy's from Wendy's front yard just dropped a 1. All right, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. All right. All right, guys. Let's get into it. There's some things I wanted to talk about with regard to the show. I gotta tell you, I am okay. Thanks, Lizzie. Audio on, because I've had more than one occasion where I'll come out and everybody's like, "What the hell are you doing, James?" So, what I wanted to talk about tonight was essentially this. Like, I'm in this hiatus and this time off, we've had an opportunity to reflect on season 19 of Sister Wives. Where are we now? What's going on? What's happening? Let me turn this up a little bit. What's going on? What's happening? Is everything okay? Will they be able to survive another season? I don't think that this show has much left in it. I think this show is cooked. I think it's done. Like, I'm looking at the like from the perspective of somebody who's looking at the show and actually looking at content for content. Like, I'm not just watching the show because, oh, I like to see Cody get cussed out. I'm watching the show, and this is a lot of the YouTubers and even some of the folks who are fans of the show. They're looking at the show to see what has changed, what's different, what's new, what can I talk about that's on this show? What are they presenting to me? What are they bringing to the table? And with what they're bringing to the table most recently in this last season, they don't have this is not even forget base model number ones at McDonald's. This shit ain't even a saltine cracker. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this shit is bare bones. Like, the only thing that I've picked up out of season 19 is that Cody's an asshole. In fact, he's a bigger asshole than I thought initially, which is a little surprising because, let's be honest, the bar wasn't that high, like, for him to just jump over. Like, that bar for Cody was low as hell. Like, I'm talking about, this bar was shorter than a kindergartner standing in a ditch. You know what I mean? That bar was low as hell. And then for him to come out and say half the stuff that he said this season, it's not revelatory. It's not something where I was like, wow, I thought he was a really nice guy. I thought this dude was a hell of a father. It turns out he's a shitbag. That's not what happened for me this season. The only thing that was confirmed to me was that Cody was a lot more shiesty than I thought he was. Like, he was ripping them off at a higher level than even I kind of guessed. A lot of the things that, as far as the finances that were confirmed or talked about during the course of the show, for me, it wasn't that, oh, I just found this out. Oh my goodness, it's so new. What I discovered through the course of this show is something that I had suspected way back when. You can watch some of my earlier videos when I talk about the finances of the family. I said that this has been pretty much how I think that this family is structured. And I'm not even saying that, and I'm going to be very honest. I'm not saying that as like the YouTube online guru who knows everything about everything. I'm saying that as a regular dude who's just looking at the show like everybody else. I'm sure I'm not the only one who figured out how the family finances was working. Right. But all they did in this season was confirm that this is how it worked. Basically, we took all our money, we put it in one bank account that only Cody had access to, and he took the money and did what he wanted to with it. And then everybody else just kind of had to figure it out. That's all we really saw. And what the show is kind of turning into is a celebration of victimology and victimhood to a small degree. Like, I appreciate and I celebrate people overcoming these types of challenges and obstacles. Like, I think that that's interesting to me. Like, when Christine broke free, what made her breaking free such a celebration for me is that she finally got herself, well, both Christine, Janelle, and even Meri, they finally got themselves out of this trap. Because they were running this circle like a gerbil on a wheel. They just running. No matter how much effort they put in, no matter how much they wanted to actually move their relationships with Cody forward, they found themselves in the same damn place. No matter how hard they ran, no matter how much they begged, they pleaded, cut deals, promised him to do, you could do whatever you want. You come over and spend the night with me, Cody. You can do whatever you want. It's yours. And he'll still take his ass across the way to go hang out with Robyn and her brood. Right? It is what it is. So when they finally broke away from that, I was like, yes, this is finally it. That was season 16. Started season 16 where Christine packed this shit up. And to be honest with you, here's where we were in season 16. I had said at that point, I talked about it. You can go you can back me up and go look at my previous videos. Season 16, when Christine packed this shit up, I said, this is awesome. When a woman's done, she's done. But there was always a question. Is Christine really done? Because there was a small part of me that was afraid, like it exists with Meri, like it exists with Janelle, that she might have went back to his ass. If he would have came back and he would have said the right thing or did the right thing, there was a possibility she could have went back. Now, I will say this. With Christine, I think it was a little different just because with Janelle, her kids were always the apple of Cody's eye. Their family, the way their family evolved, her children, Logan, Hunter particularly, were the apple of Cody's eye. They were the ideal children. So when Cody came around and he was spending time with his kids, he was spending his time with them. And where were they at? They were in Janelle's house. They were connected to Janelle. That's why I think Janelle is still kind of hooked into Cody, and she still has more of a favorable outlook on her time with Cody than most of the people, because she was closer to Cody in a way that these other women were not. Meri had Leon, and they weren't that close to Cody because they weren't what Cody liked or idealized. When Cody looked at Logan, he looked at Hunter, he looked at kids who he probably either wish he was when he was in high school, when he was their age, or he imagined himself to be. When you get older, you be like, when I was in high school, I was so cool. Most of the time you wasn't. I had all these babes. No, you didn't. Oh, everybody, they admired me and they adored me. And then like Cody comes back with his friends, like, yeah, man, we thought you was, not playing on the team that the Mormons appreciate you playing on with the right jersey. You know what I mean? Like they were sitting there saying things about Cody's sex and sexuality. There was a question of that. There was a question of whether he was like some kind of nut job, fruit ball or whatever. Like what was wrong with him? Always seeking attention, always jumping out there in the middle of the crowd. Hey boys, here I am. Like they weren't that impressed with Cody, right? But the way he talked about it, he told his story. It was like, oh, I was always amazing. I would jump in the middle of the crowd and they loved me, right? So when he looked at his two oldest sons, I think that he saw him a reflection of what he perceived himself to be. So that helped him to formulate a relationship with Janelle that he didn't have at that time, that he didn't have with any of his other sister wives. That's why I think that there's still that concern. Like even with Christine, there's that concern that Janelle might go back. Meri, like I said, with her situation, it was what it was. She just didn't have a child that he wanted, right? And this is no shot on Leon at all. God bless them for surviving the game and coming out where they came out, right? I'm not mad at them at all. They did what they had to do. And it's not their fault that they were born into a situation with this particular dude. But when you look at Christine's children and Christine's relationship with Cody was completely different. She had to barter and beg Cody to come over and spend time in her house. When they were putting that wrestling mat in Christine's house, that wrestling mat was going to Christine's house for Logan and for, more particularly, it was going in there for Hunter. so that Cody could come over there and wrestle with Hunter and practice at Christine's house in her garage. And even then, she had to make the barter, understanding that he's going to be there because he's coming over there with Hunter and probably Hunter's friends and people who want to wrestle and stuff. And to practice, they were going to come over and they were going to meet in Christine's house. But even then, she had to cut a deal with him to spend more time with her. Even though he's going to be in her house, she wanted to make sure she made it very clear that he was going to come over and spend time with her. So when you update that and you throw in the whole surgery thing with Isabel, you throw in the whole thing with him refusing to come around, you throw in the whole thing with him refusing to lay down with her and be at one to know her in a biblical sense. When you throw all that in, that's why she decided to leave. And that's where she had enough and she wasn't coming back. Right? But with all that being said, even in my citation, what I just said just now, I wasn't talking about things that he did last season or even a season or two ago. I'm talking about things that happened 3 seasons ago. When you look at my contemporaries, the other YouTubers, and they talk about sister wives, and even during this time off, this hiatus, they aren't going back reviewing what happened in season 19. Little inside baseball. We're not talking about what happened in season 19. You know why? Because nothing happened in season 19. Dick all happened in season 19. That's what happened in season 19. Nothing happened. Season 18, pretty much the same thing. Right? You had a big fight between Janelle and Cody. But I mean, that was just a matter of time. And we had already known that there was by season 17's tell-all, we already knew that there was a fight. It was just a matter of us seeing the fight and how bad it was and how much it hurt her. But other than that, okay, it makes perfect sense why she left. But other than that, we didn't really get any new information. And this trend was actually ongoing because a lot of what we talk about for sister wives, let me take a look at the because I can tell you right now exactly what I'm referring to. We go back season 15. This is right before COVID really took, the 1-9 really landed. And they didn't talk about much by season 15. They were still talking about, like Cody was saying, like off brand shit, like, this family is getting in the way of my goals, dreams, and objectives. You guys are an obstacle. You're a weight holding me down. And at that point, it seemed like Cody was actually going to leave the family. But prior to that, I mean, the only thing they really talked about was Felons No More. That was the second episode of season 15. And they talked about how awesome it was that all of a sudden they weren't going to just outright consider polygamy a felony, I think it was, in Utah. But that really had nothing to do with Cody and them, because even though they were living polygamy, they weren't in Utah anymore. And even when Christine said, okay, fine, let's move back to Utah, everybody was like, no, we're not going. Janelle was in love with the mountains. Meri loved just being around Cody. Cody wasn't going back because Robyn wasn't leaving because Dayton was still in school. So it wasn't happening. So that whole thing was a wash. So if we go back to season 14, let's see what was going on in season 14. Let's see. Meri got kicked out of her place in Arizona. They talked a little bit about like Cody passed. They had some awkward arguments, but it wasn't really much going on. So technically, we've been arguing and talking about Cody pass since season 14, like arguing over it. What they gonna do? What's gonna happen? Oh, they cheap. Oh, Cody and Robyn are stealing Cody pass. We knew they were stealing Cody pass. Season 13, that's when they left. That's when they left Las Vegas to go to Arizona. But this is all dick all. Like, this is nothing. Just dumb stuff. Like, nothing is happening. There's nothing is being revealed. Oh, Cody reveals that he wanted to do the one house thing in Arizona. Like, what does that even mean? You want to do the one house. That wasn't going to happen. Robyn was never going to move into one house with these women. And you weren't going to do anything that was going to make Robyn upset. You damn sure. Here's the jacked up part. Robyn wasn't going to move into the one home. You blamed it on Christine, but I could see in Robyn's face that there's no way she was moving into the one motherfucking house. Wasn't happening. Pardon my French. That was not happening. Take it off the table. Let's stop bullshitting each other. That wasn't happening. You take Christine, Meri, Janelle, you put them in one house like they were in Lehigh, there's no way Robyn was going to allow that to happen. Part of the reason why I suspect they had to move their asses out of Lehigh, Utah, was because Robyn couldn't stand the fact that for 3 nights out of the 4 nights, Cody was seeing those 3 other women. They had access to him when she did not. The only way Robyn could have access to Cody is if she carried her happy ass down there to the big Lehigh house. And I'm sure she saw that as a slight and offense to her. I only get one true night with you. It's not fair. And I'm sure that's what she kept throwing at Cody. It's not fair. I only get one night with you. I don't have nobody here to support me. They have their whole families here, and they sit there in that one house with all their kids under one roof. And then when you come home there, all of them have access to you, and they can at least see you for the day. The only way I can see you is if I get in my car, put the kids in my car, drive down the street, around the corner, up the block, park in the driveway, then go over to one of my sister wives' houses. It's not fair. So what we need to do is we need to move to Las Vegas so I can be around my family. And each one of the wives can live separate. You know what I mean? That was kind of interesting. But that's pretty much what we had talked about. So, I mean, technically, even as I'm going back through this, there's a reason why so many of us have to, when the season slows down or during the hiatus of the season, there's a reason why we all have to go back to like, see, episode 1, season 1. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about when they bought the houses. Let's talk about, was it Sister Wives Closet? Let's talk about when they moved into the cul-de-sac. There's a reason why we have to do that, because there hasn't been any new information, any new real material in this show. Since we're looking back, I'm scrolling back, going through the episodes. Like, we're looking at like season freaking 10. Now, season 10, what you had, Meri, she messed up in season 9 with the whole Catfish stuff. And then she got divorced and they did the adoption in season 9. So that was like the last real season of Sister Wives for me. I think that was the last time we really saw any new information. Everything else from that point, and this is just me being honest, anything else from that point is just merely a rehash or a retelling of the stories they told from season 1 to season 9. And it's jacked up. It's jacked up. So it said more. I just looked up and saw that. More James talking like Robyn, please. You nailed it. You know what I mean? I'm in a brain. I'm in a medulla oblongata. Right? But I'm looking at this stuff, and that's why I think that this show is in so much trouble. This show is in trouble, Jack, because they're holding on to the loyalties of people who watched this show early on, and they're capitalizing off of it. But there's a reason why, and I think I've said this before, there's a reason why such a big storyline in season 19 now is these adult women, Robyn's kids, going back asking their parents to get baptized at a church. Mom, Dad, can I participate in a church service? It'll be so amazing because I need to have God in my life. Like, that's not, if you're a religious person, God is always in your life. I don't need somebody standing. I don't need a building or a guy standing in front of the thing wearing a smock, a dress, or anything telling me that God is in my life and he's here for me. I don't need that, right? You go and you might fellowship with people of a similar faith, but those people in that building and those words shouldn't define your faith and your relationship with with God. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. Don't want to get too preachy on it, but that's just how I feel about it. But it's certainly not a thing where you have to come and ask my permission. Especially, you don't have to come and what are you crying for? Like I said before, based off of IQ Live, I got IQ Live. I want to collab with you because I want to talk to you about some things. We got to talk. I mean, you got to talk. There will be the new news, guys. I reached out to Reality TV Cringe, and they've agreed we're gonna try to work something out. So look to that. So go ahead and hit the HBO special. Go check them out. They do a podcast on YouTube. They also have a Patreon. Uh, very funny, very interesting folks. But IQ Live had talked about doing a show about the possibility of Cody and Robyn having a spinoff. What's going to happen if they do a spinoff for them? Will people watch it? I don't know. If they talk about and try to address the things that they've been addressing in the last, I said, this is season 9. So in the last 10 seasons, if they contribute what they've contributed in the last 10 seasons, their show isn't going to make it. Because they don't talk about shit. The last time Cody and Robyn actually talked about or addressed their relationship was when they forced Meri, because I do believe they forced her. They pried her, they blackmailed her, and they extorted her into signing those documents for her to get the divorce from Cody so that Robyn could marry Cody. Like, I think that shit was a plan the whole time. That was the plan, Stan. Get on track, Jack. Don't be coy, Roy. Get on the scene. If you know what I'm saying, little Simon Garfunkel. But I think that was the plan the whole time. I think that when they met, Cody wanted to marry her. I wish I could marry you. I think I want to marry you, Robyn. I think that he wanted to marry Robyn bad. He was jonesing for Robyn bad. I think Robyn held him off from the marriage, and this is just my opinion. I think Robyn held him off from the marriage because she wasn't sure that the show was going to take off. So she wanted to make sure that the show was successful before she agreed to marry his ass. But then by the time they started doing like season 3, 4, 5, they moved to Vegas, they moved around her family. Then all of a sudden they rent these big ass houses and they have all this money and stuff coming in and they live in life. And like Robyn said out of her mouth, this is the nicest house I've ever lived in when she did the rental in Las Vegas. I'm doing shit I never did before. And it's all because of my ties to Cody. But you weren't sure if the show was going to keep going. So you don't necessarily want to hitch your wagon to a dude who's popular today and then, fuck all tomorrow. You know what? This is like you're in high school and you're dating a guy who gets that good, college scholarship for football, but you're not sure if he's going pro or not. You're not sure if he's going pro, but you keep the heavy dating going. You might even slide him a baby to lock it up. Robyn, welcome to the world, Solomon. Right? So you do those things, but then by the time they get to the point where they start buying houses and now we're buying real estate and Cody, you think that Cody has control over these 4 women and their 4 properties. So you want to make sure that you're hitched to that, because even if we break it down and we look at just simple numbers, if each one of those houses is worth $500,000, just as an estimate and a round off, each one of those houses were bought for $500,000. That is, my friends, $2 million. So now Cody is sitting on top of Cody is sitting on top of $2 million worth of real estate. Oh yeah, Miss, this is the nicest house I've ever lived in. Rental back, yeah. She wants to get married. She wants to make sure that she insures her tie-in. Part of what was also going on at this time was she thought she could basically hit that bank hard as hell. She thought she could do that bank up. Like she could take advantage, basically ramshack that whole bank account, just run through it. And none of the wives were going to leave, and they were going to keep contributing because that's the culture that they grew up in. So she wasn't, I think, honestly, we sit here and pretend like, oh, she never wanted them to stay married. Oh, she absolutely wanted them to stay married. Because if they would have stayed married, they would have kept kicking money into that family bank account. Now, she might not have wanted Cody to go over to their houses. She might not want Cody to go over there spending time with them. She might not want Cody to go over there and blow their black backs out. I can see that. But she definitely wanted them to keep kicking money in. You can't tell me it don't hurt Robyn's soul when she see that Christine is out there buying Airbnbs and she's acquiring all this real estate after she left Cody, and she's doing these big things. There's a reason why Cody went out and bought her a duplicate ring that was very similar to the ring that Christine had. Oh, yeah, I made that. I designed it myself. You mean kind of like the ring that David designed for Christine? You're corny. Why don't you just, you know what I mean? Instead of you trying to mine somebody else's dreams, why don't you go get your own dreams, cuz? If that's what you want to do. But that's what they did. And again, the problem that I have with the whole thing and why I say that this show very well may be cooked, this might be the end of an era for this show, is because they haven't contributed anything new. There's, like I was saying about the two girls, there's a reason why they have to come back and beg to go to the church. We didn't watch them grow up. The last time we really focused, I mean, you see them in the background of episodes and stuff, but we didn't really see any episodes concerning any of Robyn's kids. We really didn't see any ever, except for the adoption, and then when Dayton had to get his surgery. We didn't really see them grow up. We didn't see any issues with them. We watched Janelle and Christine's kids grow up, which is why it was so painful when Garrison had passed, because that was a child that we were familiar with. We felt for Gabriel finding Garrison, Big G's, because I remember one of my finer memories of Gabe is when he was there was an episode where Cody and Janelle were going on a camping trip and they were getting ready to leave. And Gabe ass was out there on the pogo stick, and he's jumping on the pogo stick till he like, look, mom, no hands, and he falls right down. Like, awesome, right? Or there was a time when they were cleaning the trees up out of the backyard. Gabe was a ham. That dude, like, they should have paid that kid because he did some funny stuff. But they were cleaning up the trees in the backyard, the branches, and he's crawling on the ground like, I can't make it. I am dying. And he passed out, like he passed away and shit, because he was tired of working. He was working him like a dog. He's a funny kid. You know what else was funny? Truly was funny when she was little. Truly was funny as hell, right? But I watched them grow up. I didn't really watch Robyn's kids grow up. Here's a funny little thing, because I'm talking about the show might be dying, dead or dying. Here's a funny little ditty. It occurred to me that Robyn very well may be trying to push her daughters into their own spinoff. What? You heard it here first. First. I think that there's a possibility that Robyn might be trying to push her kids, her two older daughters, into their own spinoff. The problem that you have really is that nobody wants to watch two 20-year-old weepy ass chicks. Like, nobody wants to watch that. Oh God. Oh, we were treated so bad. Oh, God. They wouldn't give us all the money. Oh, God. Nobody wants to watch that shit. I don't think that I could sit through a show with just the two of them. Sitting there the whole time just crying. What the fuck am I watching? Even when they're on the show. And I don't want to be a dick. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to be an asshole about it. But when they're on a show, they're not that interesting to watch. There's not a whole lot of stuff going on with them. You know? It's just like, and I'm giving credit. I'm not. This isn't a slight on them. Please don't take it as he's coming after Robyn's kids. No, I'm not. I don't think that a majority of people could have a TV camera follow them and it'd be an interesting show. There is a quality of people, like whether we like, hate, or whatever with Robyn, Cody, Janelle, Christine, Meri. whether we like them, love them, or hate them, at the end of the day, there is something about them, the combination of their family, the chemistry within their family that makes them interesting to watch, which is why they have 19 seasons. There's also a reason why, as to, they've rolled, because this isn't the first polygamous family that TLC has rolled out. Okay. My Five Wives. Like, I thought that the patriarch of My Five Wives, I thought he seemed like a dope dude. Like, he seemed like a reasonable person, right? He's the one guy I could look at and say, okay, well, even though I don't believe in polygamy, he seems to be making it work, right? Him and his family seem to be making it work. I still see a lot of the struggles that I think are present in polygamy that makes it very difficult, if not impossible, but they seem to be handling it better. But there's a reason why they only got 2 seasons out of them. There's a reason why. There's a reason why they weren't a top-rated show. It's just, it's hard to capture people's imaginations, and sometimes the interest isn't because you're like a fascinating person and you have this star quality. It's just the fact that your life's a shit show. It's a dumpster fire, right? With Cody and them, that you can see the cracks in their relationship. And I firmly believe, as much as some people may say, I loved them in the beginning, I thought they were good people, I thought Cody was a good guy. I think deep down in the cackles of your heart, your soul, everybody saw that this shit was going to turn out pretty much how it turned out. I think that people were looking at it like, oh, we'll give them enough time. Give them enough time. There will be problems. You know what I mean? And you basically, what makes this show popular, in my opinion, what makes the show popular is people weren't sitting around waiting for them to be successful. They were waiting for the show to fall the fuck off. They were waiting for the cracks to hit the foundation and the whole relationship turns to rubble. That's what they were waiting for. They were basically waiting to have that was a confirmation bias. They were waiting for it's not what confirmation bias is, but they were waiting for their feelings to be confirmed. Right? They're waiting for it, like, okay, this isn't going to work. I can see he's selfish. You throw in this young tart. He keeps finding his way over there, but he is ignoring these other women. Yeah, this is not going to go well. And this isn't me being an expert in polygamy, which I've never claimed to be. I just understand how people work. I have a somewhat of an understanding how people work. And I know that you can't sit there with 2 people, whether it's a woman, man, whatever, they then don't make a difference. People can't sit there and watch other people have these relationships and their needs and their wants are denied and ignored while they're sitting there watching this other person get everything they want and need out of this relationship. It's everything to them, nothing to you. And you're both in a relationship with the same damn person. It's worse, in my opinion, it's worse that Cody could make it work with Robyn and her kids. If he was a shit dad to Robyn's kids, he might actually still have a relationship with his kids. But you can't be everything, and you can't be, the all-American dad to Robyn's kids or the kids you share with Robyn. Oh, I'm there when they, I tuck them in at night. I ask them how their day was. I go pick them up from school. I'm part of the PTA when it comes to their schools. Your best friends go golfing with their science teachers, and go to the bar with the English teacher, and you hang out, and you guys coach football and shit because you love each other's company. And then with the other kids, you don't even forget hanging out with their teachers. You don't even know the name of the school they in. You can what? She's in high school. When did that happen? Oh, 4 years ago. That's why she's graduating. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't be those two. They're not going to look at you and say, wow, he's such a great dad. That hurts more. So that's going to create more of a problem. But we saw that coming. Anybody who was watching and paying attention to how he was treating Robyn's kids versus how he was treating his own kids, you saw that shit. And so it was just a matter of time before season 16 turned around and one of these women woke up and put his ass out. And you knew once that happened, like technically was it season 9 when Meri, fell for the catfish. I thought it was going to start then. I was like, about time it started unraveling. But, it didn't work out with the catfish because Robyn set it up to not work out. And that's the other part of it. And all we're getting now, and that's another pet peeve that I have. Then I'm going to open it up for you guys. But another pet peeve I have, even when it comes to Meri's side, because season 17 was Christine's awakening, season 18 awakening and departure, season 18 was Janelle's awakening and departure, season 19 I think was kind of abbreviated, but this is Meri's awakening and departure. And now she's kind of rehashing a lot of things that were happening, and she's coming into the realization that, I think that maybe Cody and Robyn had tricked me into getting a divorce. Yeah. Everybody's been saying that. This is new to you. This is new news to you. Old news to us, new news to you. Okay. Same thing with, I think at some point, Meri's going to make the allegation that Robyn might have had something to do with the Catfish. Yeah. Your friend told you that this person was real. Look, I think I said this before. I'm gonna be straight up. Lord's still working on me. Forgive me, Lord, because I know I'm a work in progress. But if I was to talk to somebody on the phone, say, and somehow I mention it to a friend of mine or even a friend of a friend, and they tell me, "Oh yeah, that's real. That's real, dude. Yeah, you should put some money with that person, or you should go meet with that person about this business thing or whatever." Blah blah blah. And I go do that, and I get robbed, and I find out that this person isn't real. Oh yeah, you bet your ass I'm coming back, and me and the person who confirmed that they are real and legitimate, and you know them and you seen them, you talk to them in person, you know that this is for real, you can bet your ass we're going to have a conversation. And by conversation, I'm saying there's going to be some furniture moving around up in that motherfucker. Like, we are definitely going to get together. We're going to work it the hell out, because I need to figure out what's going on. You told me this is real. And that's basically what happened with Meri. It's kind of swept under the rug. They'll mention it and pull it back, mention it and pull it back. But that's what happened with Meri and this damn Catfish. One of Robyn's friends, I think it was a friend or a cousin or something, had told Meri that she knew this dude. She knew him, and she met him before. How the fuck did you meet somebody that don't exist? Right there, you're going to have some fronts missing. You're going to have some vacancies up in that piece, because there's no way in the world you're going to come out your lying mouth and tell me that this person is for real, and then all of a sudden I go back, and not only are they not genuine to me, but they don't even exist. And not only do they not exist, it's somebody whom, and God bless you, whatever your sex and sexuality, your sexual orientation is, whatever. I don't care about that. But what I don't think is fair, what I don't like, is when you play with somebody else's. You don't have a right to play with somebody else's stuff. And just because the person who was catfishing Meri was okay with being who they were and talking to Meri, whether Meri likes ladies or not is irrelevant. It's irrelevant, because for her, she thought she was talking to a dude. And it turns out it wasn't what she thought she was talking to. I don't care if Meri was dating women all the way up to the time that she got catfish. You don't have a right to fool somebody else when it comes to that. People's sexuality is very fragile. Their orientation and everything about their sexuality, sex and sexuality, is very fragile. That's your autonomy. You have a right to decide who you want to be in a relationship with and who you don't want to be in a relationship with. And whether it's Robyn, whether it's Robyn's friend, or whether it's this joker who catfished Meri, they didn't have a right to do that to her. And nobody, and it's fucked up, pardon my French, is jacked up that nobody has ever said that shit. Everybody talks about, oh, it's not right, she got catfish, oh, whether it's right or wrong that she cheated, but it's wrong that you tell somebody that you something that you're not. You pretend to be something that you're not just on the catfish part where you trick them, but that can do damage to people. That can seriously hurt somebody's image of themselves. Because if you all of a sudden you find out you playing the damn crying game, that shit is not cute. That's not funny. Oh, turns out, yeah, dude, you hooked up with Robyn's? Yeah, yeah. That used to be Rob. Yeah, I mean, there was a little meme I saw. It said there was a couple, and the one person was standing up. The young lady was standing up, and dude was in the bed, and she looked at her boyfriend and said, "You know, I'm sorry, I should have told you earlier, but I used to be a Christian." And the guy was like, "Oh, well, I mean, if you're not a Christian anymore, what faith are you?" She's like, "Oh, no, I don't mean like religiously. I'm a Christine now, but I used to be a Christian." Right? You don't have the right to fool people like that. Okay, whatever you're dealing with, I mean, I'm not saying you got to run out and tell them right off, like, "Hey, by the way," but you should let them know what they're getting involved with. If this person was serious about Meri, they should have let Meri know. This is who I am. This is what I'm about, and then she should have been able to make that decision. We could talk all day whether Meri was cheating, whether she wasn't cheating, whether she was right, she was wrong. Let's start from the basic part. The basic part. Okay, you don't have a right to do that to somebody. That shit is not okay. That is not okay. And it gets swept under the rug. Even on the show, it kind of gets swept under the rug that, it's dismissed as Meri said, this person was thick. This person's so thick. It's not, the fact that they are who they are doesn't make them sick. The fact that they trick Meri and try to pull her in and deceive her that way makes her sick. But again, going back to Robyn's friend knew what it was. You knew what it was because I think Robyn's friend knew her, I forget the name of the catfish person. They knew the catfish person. And they knew the person that they were lying, pretending to be. So all of a sudden, the person who lied to me, and so you tell me that you know the person they pretending to be, and you think you're gonna be okay. You better see me before I see you. You better see me before I see you. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna leave it there. And I'm not advocating violence in any way. We got to say that. Not advocating violence. But the Lord's still working on me. So you do what you do. Yeah, I'm still a work in progress. And I recognize that. Yeah. So I mean, it's just, but even then, like the fact that I'm still talking about the catfish. Why y'all still bringing up the catfish? Because they don't talk about nothing else. Marrying them, if y'all don't want us to talk about catfishing, Cody and Robyn, maybe if you guys didn't want us talking about Isabel every 10 seconds, you would actually put something else out, some other content, additional content out that we could talk about and discuss. But right now, the only thing y'all talk about is the only thing interesting, life-changing, altering story arc-wise that happened was the COVID stuff, the COVID rules, how Cody left and abandoned his family, how he's ripping them off. And it's not even a new rip off because I could tell you way back when they first bought Cody Pass, that Cody was already trying to rip y'all off. I said when you were selling your house in Vegas and everybody was moving off the cul-de-sac. So he's going to rip y'all off. He's trying to steal your money. He's trying to consolidate those funds. I'm going to do a video. I got to do this video. I want to do a video on the finances. Why Robyn? Because Robyn takes the argument that she wasn't about getting this land, and she always wanted to move into the one big house. Robyn didn't want to move into the one big house. She wanted to get all that money because there was a lot of money that was going to be floating around into that. Because you look at the family bank account, okay? Take a step back. We look at the family bank account. What is the family bank account? The family bank account was, they had the money that was coming from TLC going into that account. So they still had that TLC money hitting that account, which is a lot of money. Each one of them making about 6 figures, right? So they had all that money going into the family account. Then they come up with the brilliant idea that they were going to sell their houses. Now, when they sell those houses, that money too was supposed to go into the family account. Now, you wouldn't just have the money. That was the take. That was the take. That was the haul. Okay. Christine messed it up because she went out and she bought a house. Now, there's a reason why, which I, I don't want to get too much into it because all that's going to happen is it'll turn up on somebody else's YouTube channel. But there's a reason why things got slowed up or gummed up, and I'll get into that. And I will put out a shorter video for that. All right, but yeah, but all in all, long story short, long story long, I guess at this point, what they have to do is if they want to uncook this show, they actually have to start getting into it. Either you want to, I've said this before, I've been saying this, either you want to be on the show or you don't. Either you want to do reality TV or you don't. If you don't want to do reality TV, I'm not mad at you. I would never sign up for a reality TV show for this reason. I don't want people, I'm an extrovert who happens to also have introverted tendencies. I'm a guy who can come out and stand in front of a room of 1,000 people, stand on stage with a microphone and talk my ass off, kind of like what I'm doing now. It's not thousands of people, but you get what I'm saying. I have no problem with that. I can go into a bar or a place and float around and have a bunch of conversations with people. I'm that guy. But there's a part of me, a big part of me, that when I go home, I like to be home. I like that. My home is my safe space, my sanctuary, my fortress of solitude. There's a reason why you need a fortress of solitude. That's the place that's protected where you go to recharge your battery so you can go back out and face the world. That's why it's so important that you have harmony within the home. That's why I think that it's so criminal that Cody brings such, turmoil and mayhem into these people's lives because they can't have that safe place at home. Because he's always coming in and he's creating all this chaos in their spaces. And they couldn't have that because that shit is important. To me, that's important. But when you do a reality show, you're inviting people into your fortress of solitude. And it's no longer your fortress of solitude. It's now a production scene. It's now a place where you produce the show. And you don't have secrets. Meri doesn't want people talking about her finances. Too bad, so sad. People are tied into the show. Your finances are a key part of the show, especially since the big driver of this season was indirectly and in some cases directly your finances. Cody Pass deals with the finances of not only Meri, but Meri, Janelle, Robyn, and Cody. Their finances are first and foremost in the last half season that we watched. Because if you look at the last half season that we watched, that was the only real storyline. Cody Pass and what they're going to do with it. That's the only real storyline they had this season 19. Because everything else was just basically like skip-scop distractions. You had the kids are going to join the church. Who gives a shit? Robyn and Cody are having disagreements. Who gives a shit? They're not disagreeing about anything real because even the disagreements are like humble brags. Oh, Cody, I want you to spend time with your kids because your kids need you, Cody. Cody, your children need you. Oh, I do try to spend time with him. I call him. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Why don't you pick up the fucking phone and call one of them? You're losing your mind. Call them on the phone. They had this miracle. It's called a little handheld device. It's called a fucking phone. You punch in some magic numbers, and then all of a sudden you get to talk to people who aren't standing in the room with you. It's incredible. They have the internet now. You got FaceTime. There's zero reason as to why you're not talking to your kids. There's zero reason. You could text them. You could send them a FaceTime request. You could set up a Zoom meeting. Whatever you want to do. Fucking carrier pigeon. What? Go old school on the ass. You know what I mean? But you don't want to talk. You have no interest in doing it. So now I don't want to listen to you pretend that you care. Because it's something that you could do something about. if we want to sit here and talk about like the loss of Big G's, there's nothing you can do about that. He's gone. So as horrible as that is, you can talk about how you wish you did this, you wish you did that, coulda, woulda, shoulda. It don't mean shit, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. I coulda did this, I woulda did that, I shoulda did that. Fine. You didn't, so it's done. But that would hold more water than you sitting here talking about, oh yeah, the kids who are still around and kicking and active and doing things, I'm not bothering to talk to them because they don't worship my wife. Well, fuck you and her. You know what I mean? Like, if that's what it takes, if that's the thing that broke your family up, that's what broke your love for your child, the fact that they don't kiss your present wife's ass, then there's something wrong with you. That to me would be an interesting conflict. So if they want to go into that, which they haven't, it's just merely brought up. And that's part of the reason why I say they have like these dangling participles. They have these dangling chads, I guess, but subject matter, story arcs that have been left unfinished that they don't talk about. It's there. Like, these are interesting topics that could be addressed and talked about. Get these kids on the show, cut them a fucking check, get them on the show, get them on the couch, get them in a scene, put them together so that they can have this conversation. I would watch that. I would watch that, and I'd be interested in seeing what these kids have to say about Cody when he tries to address them. Oh, the reason I don't talk to you is because you guys don't appreciate Robyn. I want to hear what they had to say. I'm interested in hearing what they had to say. Especially like kids like Madison. Why is Madison so interested? Because Madison don't seem to be holding back. She's not trying to like, I'm gonna be gentle and I'm trying to be nice and stuff. She's like, I'm gonna put it where the goats can get it. This is why I don't fuck with you. This is why my kids don't hang out with you. Pardon my friends, I'm cussing a lot tonight. But this is why I don't deal with you. Because you're not doing my kids right, or you're sporadic, or you seem the only thing you care about is her, and because you don't care about me and because you don't take me into consideration, I don't really have time for you because you're not respecting me at the levels I need to be respected at. I'm down to see that conversation. Who down to see that conversation? I think more people are down to see that conversation. What I'm not really interested in is listening to Cody and Robyn try to backtalk and cover fill a lot of the conversations that should happen, but they're giving bullshit excuses on why these conversations aren't happening. I'm not really interested in seeing that. I don't really give a shit. I don't care that you guys are sitting around. You need to spend time with your kids. Your kids need you. If you gave a shit about these kids, Robyn, then you should have gave a shit about them when it mattered. It's too fucking late for you to sit there and cry on the side of a house about how they need to call his kids. You should have been telling him that when he was doing COVID. When you were sitting in there looking him in the motherfucking face all. Pardon my French. I'm cussing a lot. Forgive me. I'm sorry. People can't take it. Some folks can't take it. But you sitting there looking this dude in his face every day. And you could say to him, hey, did you talk to Maddie today? Hey, did you call Logan? Hey, did you call Hunter? Hey, did you call Gabe? Did you call Garrison? Did you call Isabel? Did you call Gwendolyn? Did you call Truly? Did you call Aspen? She's down in Utah. You call any of these kids? No, you just sitting there playing with Solomon, pushing him over, or listening to the little girl talk. And to be honest with you, let's keep it all the way a stack. I'm not even 100% certain he's really fucking with them either. Oh, I still curse. Oh, Lord have mercy. I need some water. I need some holy water. Wash my mouth out, boy. But I'm not even 100% certain that he's dealing with them. I just know that he's around them more. I wouldn't put money on the fact of whether he's actually involved with these kids. I think part of it is too, is that like even him sitting there watching the kids get off the bus, which hurt Gwendolyn because she talked about it on Patreon, which hurt McKelty because she recognized that he was doing for those kids what he wasn't doing for them. And I'm sure it rippled through his other children. But guys, I got to tell you, I'm not 100% sure that he's out there every day waiting for them to get off the bus. It's cheaper for me to pay somebody to watch these kids than for me to deal with them because I can make $200 an hour and pay somebody $20 and be out there making money, hustling and flowing. I don't think he's waiting for his kids to get off the bus. I don't think he's doing homework with them. I don't think he gives a shit. I think that he did that for this show. That's my suspicion. Call me a jerk. I'm a jerk because that's what I think. I think that he did that to try to repair his image that he's a shit dad. So he's going to show that he's a good dad to these kids. Because when he was out there, if you out there dealing with your kids and playing with your kids, you got them in the snow. I've shoveled with my father. We played, you know what I mean, and stuff when I was a kid. When you get a little older, you know, gotta get this done. It's cold outside, or you out there by yourself and he in the house. That's why I got kids, son. But but if you out there with your pop, I would be picking those shovel up, trying to throw it, swing a shovel at my father. My father wasn't playing that shit. Why? So I could accidentally hit him, bump the car. I accidentally hit my father. Oh, you hitting motherfuckers with shovels now? That's what we doing? Like, I'm not doing that. No, thank you. No, sir. No, sir. Pardon my friend. I'm sorry, y'all. This whole some people like my ears on fire, James. You cussing too damn much. But I don't think he really spent time with them kids like that. When they played the game, they were playing the board game, Jenga, whatever. I didn't had a feeling like, wow, we're finally getting a look at the Brown family, Robyn's collective family, spending quality family time with each other. I didn't have that feeling. I thought, frankly, oh, this is some shit for the show. This is for the show. Half of them didn't even look like they understood how to play Jenga. Like, I think it came off to me, and this is really jacked up, but it came off to me that maybe production stopped by like the Walmart or the Target, and picked up the Jenga game and maybe a couple other board games and just throw it at them. Why don't you guys play this? And they had to read the damn instructions on how to figure out how to do it. Because they even like the way you picked the pieces out and stuff, they weren't doing the tap. You know what I mean? They were doing that. They were getting the easy pieces. And it wasn't even like it was that high. Like, it wasn't like they were all the way up and then all of a sudden it fell down. Oh, dong, fiddly sticks. They, like 3 in. Oh, knocking it over. So yeah, I'm not even on that. So, we gonna play Jenga. What? Oh man. So yeah, I'm kind of at the point now where like I'm watching the show, and unless they do something in this second half of this season, like that turns this whole shit around, this might be the end of Sister Wives, y'all. Because I know they say, well, they filmed 20 already. Here's the secret to the sauce. They pay them for episodes. They don't pay them for filming. Okay? And if the viewership of this show starts to tank or slip, people have been watching the show because of the residual of Christine leaving, of Janelle leaving, like their argument, of prospectively Meri leaving. If this show started in season 17, nobody would be watching this show come season 19. This would have been a 2-season series. Just my take. This thing would have went 2 seasons. They would have saw Christine leave in season 17. Of course she left. This dude's a jerk. Season 18, see Janelle argue, fight. And then you have Meri confess that she's no longer with Cody. And I don't know, to be honest with you, watching them, him go over there and help her pack her house up and shit, I don't know if that's enough to carry a season. So I don't know if season 19 would even exist. That might have been, like I said, a 2-season shot. And if you're not creating and producing content that can stand alone, like each season has its thing. Like as I was going through just a few minutes ago, I could see each season, like markers on each season, like, oh, this season was about the adoption. This season was about the divorce. This season was about the catfish. This season was about them buying the homes. This season was about them moving to Vegas. This season was about them getting married, introducing Robyn into the family. Season 20, what is it about? They're still living separate. Christine is out buying houses with her husband, David. Janelle is doing Tater Farms. Meri is still trying to find a man in love. Like, it's just, I don't know if there's enough meat on the bones to keep this show going. And I know all of them need the show. They all need the show. And that's the reality of it. Like, Christine's not buying these houses, the Airbnbs, on Plexus money. Janelle's not funding Tater Farms on Plexus money and t-shirts. Like, it's the sister wife, like this, the money coming from this show, this doing their lives. Meri, she's borrowing a lot of money, so her finances are her finances, but just kind of is what it is. Robyn and Cody, shit. I'm doing a video talking about that damn house too, because I have a perspective on that I haven't heard anybody talk about yet, and I'm going to deliver that about Cody and Robyn and that damn $2.1 million house. We need to put that in perspective. But they need this because how the hell they gonna pay $2.1 million? Okay, I'm gonna give you a little teaser. There's a difference between home ownership, which is a positive, and buying a house. Robyn and Cody bought a house, but that's not home ownership. Like, because they very well may be giving that mother back. Okay. But that is what it is. I'm gonna drop. Let me see. Hey, Carmel Cutie, what she say? I'm okay with OG3, OG13 getting a spinoff. I refuse to watch Robyn and Cody and their 5 kids in a spinoff. That's what I mean. I don't know what they would even talk about. Like, to watch them get weepy-eyed and stuff. Like, that show would be dry as shit. Cody and Robyn, like, they're all pretending like everything is like a big deal. You guys don't understand. Cody's sitting there trying to look like a tough cowboy. My life is so hard. I think about leaving these kids every day. Me and Robyn aren't getting along. Who gives a shit? Like, I don't care. I don't care that you and Robyn aren't getting along. You know what I mean? The guy who's successful about like you rob a bank. I'm not gonna be upset that you got a flat tire. Man, I got a flat tire in my getaway car. I don't care. That's not a show. You going to jail is a show. You getting punished is a show. Cops, Law and Order. That's not about them getting away with it. Like, oh, they got away with it. They want to see the punishment part of it, the karma part of it. The movies where things happen, you want to see the karma. That's what makes the show. That's the story arc. I don't want to watch Cody and Robyn get away with ripping these women off and these kids off, screwing these kids over. Yeah, we have a successful life. So I don't think their show was going to work. But I'll open this up. And yeah, if you got shit. Didn't put the link in. That would help. That would help. Yeah, by all means, I have the leave a message at speakpipe.com/MyTakeOnReality. If you want to call in, I got a bunch more for this Thursday show. I do the responses to the SpeakPipe stuff on Thursday. So if you want to call in for that, that's awesome. The great part about SpeakPipe, and this is something I discovered from Reality Cringe TV, Reality TV Cringe podcast. You call in and you can leave a message. It's the message you want to leave. So you can always go back and erase it and retape it or whatever the case, and then send it up to me. And it's easy peasy. All right. No fuss, no muss. You don't have to worry about it. If you don't want to have your message played on air, just say that in the beginning of the message. Also, if you want to call in and do it anonymously, I am open to people doing it anonymously as well. Somebody did that in this week's upcoming episode, somebody left an anonymous message. You know, I understand. I'll story time. I'll give a little tea, James T. I had a position in my corporate life, corporate America life, where when I started doing because I did comedy and I did acting and stuff too. But when I started dabbling into that kind of thing, public speaking and all that, I had to use a nom de guerre to like a stage name because if the position I had, if anybody ever found out that I was just up talking into a microphone saying whatever I wanted to say with the secrets to the, you know what I mean, with all the secrets, the corporate secrets and the keys to the kingdom, if they ever found out my ass was talking reckless on stage, oh, there would have been problems. So just out of professional courtesy and out of protection for my professional life, you know, if I had an opinion, I had to keep it to myself, especially now I understand with you know, a lot of what happens on social media. And I wasn't saying anything that was crazy, but I just did it so everybody would be more comfortable. But the way things are now with social media and people going viral, saying things on Facebook, X, or whatever, Instagram, and they lose their damn job. Like, I understand and I respect the fact that people don't want their names or likenesses out there to be criticized or somebody calling it up, being like, you know, I heard you was on My Take on Reality, that obscure YouTube channel, saying some wild stuff about this crazy woman, Robyn. So if you want to leave, I say all that to say, if you want to leave, a message, that's fine. Also, we had a bit of a trolling situation. And again, I want to reiterate, if you guys would be so kind, we haven't had any issues before. And this is like maybe once in a blue moon, somebody will come in, they'll kind of troll a little bit. But please respect the moderators. They're here doing a fantastic job as a solid to myself and to the channel. You know, they're providing an invaluable service by helping to move the chat and keep the chat in a positive environment. So please respect them and make sure that you take care of the moderators. If you have a difference of opinion, I don't mind differences of opinion. If you love Cody and you love Robyn, I don't know how this is possible. And I'm begging you, if you do support Cody and Robyn, call into the show, send me a speak pipe message, send me an email, and explain to me why I have it wrong. Part of the reason why I suspect it's a troll and it's just somebody trying to create problems when they call in and they say, I love Cody. Cody is amazing. He did everything he needed to do. He's right. All these women are wrong because blah, blah, blah. Part of the reason why I suspect it's a troll is because even though they throw a inflammatory statement out, they never back it up or they never call in. They never allow for any real pushback on the situation. Like, again, if you call in and you make a statement, I'm going to give you some pushback. We're going to have a conversation about it. I don't think that that's unrealistic. I don't think that's unfair to say that if you call in and you say, I think Cody was an amazing father and it's these women who ruined everything, I think that deserves some commentary. I think that deserves some conversation. We don't necessarily have to have a debate. It doesn't have to be a debate. It's your opinion. You can voice your opinion. I just want to have a conversation about it. So if you support Cody or Robyn, by all means, leave a message on SpeakPipe. Leave a message in my email. Call into the show. Hit the link. Come up, and I will bring you right up. Put in the thing. I agree with Cody, and I will put you right up, guaranteed. All right. So that's that. I kind of suspect, like in some of these instances where we get like some every now and again we get a troll, and I think that there was one time, the first time I got a troll, I had just so happened to run into somebody I hadn't seen in a long time. And I thought, oh, yeah, I got a YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. And then that same night I was doing a live and I had like a troll. And that's where I was like, look, dude, like don't fuck around and just say stuff that be pissing people off for no reason. Like that's an abuse of like my kindness and our friendship. If you come in here and you just trying to upset people because you think it's funny, like that's not a cool thing. But the more I think about it, and the more I didn't see him since then, but so I didn't have a chance to confront him. But as time went on, and we had a couple other trolls every now and again, I kind of suspect it might be people from, supporters of maybe other channels or whatever who just want to come in and create some discord. So if that's what you believe, I have no problem with you believing it. I have no problem with you voicing it. Call in. You send a speak pipe, send an email. Let's have the conversation. Maybe you can sway me. Because I mean, I can get up here. I even thought about doing it tonight. I come up and I defend Robyn and Cody. Hard as hell. You have to understand the mental gymnastics that would be involved with me trying to defend anything that they do. Right? Part of the reason I didn't do it, like it probably give me a headache to try to do it. But I mean, I could see where people could be on their side, right? It'd be crazy, but I can see it. We can have that conversation. So by all means, we could do that if that's what you want to do. But let me get my my sound stuff together so I can actually hear you guys. We have a couple callers. Again, you guys want to come up, hit me up, let me know. And if you don't want to come up, and again, part of the reason why I did the speak pipe, again from Reality TV Cringe podcast, part of the reason why I did the speak pipe is because I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to have some kind of outlet that they feel comfortable with in participating in the chats, live streams, or anything we have going on with it as far as the channel. So tis what it is. All right. So first up, we have Local Art Witch. Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Oh, yes, perfect. I was just sitting here jotting notes so I can, use my time wisely and not take it up too much. Okay. So first of all, just to get it out of the way, I just left you a really long email. I apologize in advance.
Oh, no worries.
So a couple things real quick. I remember watching Sister Wives when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
And being just so fascinated. I was into all those TLC shows that had different ways of life. I was just 19 Kids and Counting, fascinated. I fell off watching Sister Wives when the Catfish situation was getting really long in the tooth.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to mention that at the time I was watching it, it just didn't seem like a bad idea to be a polygamous wife. I was like, I could kind of see, now I was young, I was a teenager, but I could sort of see how it might work. And I liked the idea of what looked to be a community that worked together. I've been watching that Religion and Reality, and she's pointing out these things that on rewatch is really obvious, like in 2020 vision, like looking back. I honestly didn't see how unfair it was. And it's like, what was wrong with me that I didn't see it? It seems so like duh at this point.
Right.
The next thing I wanted to mention quickly is there's a scene recently where Cody was saying to Robyn that he would be judging everything the pastor was saying and comparing scriptures. And an idea I sort of had was, what scriptures is he referencing? Because the Mormons have the Pearl of Great Price, they have the Book of Mormon, and then they have something else that I can't recall. So is he going to be comparing what the pastor's saying, I assume from the regular Holy Bible that most of us have access to the Book of Mormon? Because I've just started reading the Book of Mormon, and it's a very different book.
Right.
So I was wondering what he meant by scriptures. And then the last thing I wanted to leave you with, if there does happen to be a season 20, my best life would be them having to deal with the fallout of Dollgate,
Oh,
Robyn's doll situation, but it would require them to have some honesty. So realistically, it wouldn't go anywhere. But in my best life, I would just want to see some sort of sign that all this grifting they've been doing for all of these years, the sacrifices the rest of the family made,
right, right,
that there would be some comeuppance, some sort of something.
right, right.
So,
Yeah, something along the lines of some kind of karma for
yes,
what they did. Yeah, the
yes,
turnabout. Yeah, it's a turnabout.
yes,
And you know what? And to be honest with you, I think that that's an important part of it because without that, the story is left incomplete. I think that for a lot of folks, they won't get the closure that they need for the conclusion of the series.
yeah.
And so maybe that's part of the reason why they keep extending it and extending it is because they're waiting for that turnabout to happen. Now, to be honest with you, with the wives leaving and pulling their finances, the
Yes.
turnabout that could drastically accelerate the downfall of both Robin and Cody
Yeah.
because they're still spending money like they have 5 incomes coming into one bank account.
That's the thing that baffles me. So that now that you brought it up, so
Mhm.
Janelle left, and not even that long after, she put all of her money into the family, and she has a really good heart. I really believe that.
Mhm.
But very shortly after leaving Cody, she was able, I know her daughter helped, but she had the ability to buy a giant piece of land. Like, as soon as Cody was shed, I'm like, "Holy crap. How
Right.
much money?" Like, I can't even fathom the amount of money that those 2 people on their own it took literally the rest of the wives to keep up with the shopping.
Right.
Like,
Right.
woman, and I'm not saying it's just Robyn, although she gets the worst of it. You get thee to a therapist. Like, this seems like
Insane.
a lot. Like, how do you go through that amount of money? Like, I can't even fathom that amount of money.
Right. Right. Well, because I think that that's the big part about it is like with say Taita Farms, the piece
Mm,
of property that Janelle was able to purchase down in North Carolina. She purchased 159 acres of property for $289,000. The 14 acres that they bought out there in Arizona was almost $1 million. The
mm,
County Pass property was almost $1 million. It's like around $900,000, like 870 something or 890 something. So for the 4 lots and for 14 acres, they pay almost $1 million. They go down to North Carolina out there in the boonies and the sticks, and they pay 289. So it's all
mhm.
location, location, location. But
Yeah,
in addition to it being location, it's also affordability. And in conjunction with the foresight and the awareness of your financial standing to say, you know what, we don't have $1 million to throw on property and still put land or put houses or structures on top of that property. We don't have
property that's infected.
right.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, but, like, the
No.
property's infected. It's gonna apparently take years and years for this illness that affects dogs
Mhm.
to get out of the soil. I was surprised when Janelle was camping, not that she was camping on the property, but that she had her dogs on this property.
Right.
It makes sense to me that if coyotes could have whatever this illness is, that your dogs could get it because the soil's infected. So, like, obviously, it's a huge sign as to how little research or forethought that these people put into most of the things that they do. I do believe that Cody's very, what's the word? He just wants to do it. Like, he gets an idea, and it's just like the word is escaping me right now, but he almost can't help himself.
Right. Right.
Um, One last thing. I was thinking about what you were saying with the defending Cody and Robyn. So, mostly, even with people I really dislike, so I'm Canadian. and the Canadians are having big feelings lately that I won't discuss.
Right.
But it's easy to highly dislike a certain person in power. And I try when I feel like I'm starting to get to the hate zone. Okay, what is one good thing about this person? What is
Mhm.
something good and valuable I can think about? Um, and I'm not saying you hate anybody. You don't seem like the type, but
Right.
Cody and Robin, they just they don't seem to have any redeeming qualities. They don't like it's I don't think it's just because of the show itself.
Mhm.
Because the show does a really good job of trying to give them a really nice polish.
Right. Right. Well,
So,
especially historically because of the production team they had.
yeah,
Right. No, I agree. I agree. I agree. I think that ultimately with Cody and Robin, for the most part, because of like the rudimentary makeup of most reality TV shows, they were cast as pretty much the heels. So they're the villains of the show, like
mm,
as things work. So for a long time, they were a necessary component for the way that they were structuring their show. The problem that they have, even the villain status aside, the problem that they have is that one, they haven't uh really stretched out or cultivated any real storylines
yeah,
between the OG3 and Robin and Cody.
yes,
And two, a bigger part of that, or at least a subsection, but a huge part of that is there's no real reason as to why Cody and Robin would be involved with any one of the OG3 at
yes.
this point. Like there's no natural uh
No,
point where you could say, yeah, I could see them meeting up and having a whole conversation, much less a disagreement. Like there's nothing
yeah,
that you guys can disagree about except for as it stands right now, which is why I think we hear so much about Cowdy Pass.
Coyote Path.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the only thing that they can talk about. Like other than that,
yeah,
like our money is separate, our finances
yes,
are separate. I live in different parts of the country than you. I'm not,
yes,
only time I really see you is if I come and intentionally look for you. In which
yes,
case,
like a wedding, a funeral,
right,
something
right.
to do with paying off the land, which is finished now,
Mhm.
but
Other
she
than
kept her kids isolated too, so there isn't even the excuse to get together for the sake of the youngest children.
right, right, because you don't have
So,
relationships with them. So,
yeah,
and even if, like you say that Mary, like if somebody makes the argument that Mary had a relationship with Solomon or she had a relationship with Ariella, the truth of the matter is that Robin kept those two children away from Mary.
we did.
So, so even if she wanted to have a relationship with him, when she called Robin, and that's something that's going to come out in this second season of this
I'm excited.
yeah, when she said she called her and they never picked up the phone or she never got a call back, then
Mhm.
it wasn't just Robin that was being isolated from Mary, it was also her children.
Yeah,
So, but just to answer your question, like the whole thing with the scriptures, it's my
yes,
understanding that the Mormons use their text, their books, but their books are an accentuation of like the Bible. So the Old New
yeah,
Testament, American, like not American Bible, but the I guess NIV or King James Bible. So they still use that as like a foundational document,
mhm,
but they have their own text, which goes into their portion of the religion, whether it's LDS or fundamentalism.
mhm,
The thing is, though, and what makes Cody and people like him more of a challenge when they try to come into other religions. And even the fact that he said, yeah, I'll listen to what he has to say and then I'll argue with him and hold him to account, where that becomes kind of a where you poke your ear up is the understanding that as Mormons, they have a point where they go on missions.
yes,
And part of those missions, a lot of times they're like Jehovah's Witnesses. If you ever had a Jehovah Witness come over and knock
mhm,
on your door, when they come over and knock on your door, because they too have their own books.
yes,
But when they come over, they want to talk to you about the Bible. So in some cases, when these kids go out to the on their missions, they have more reference points and talking points within the Bible than even people who are part of a traditional Christian
mhm.
religion or faith. So they'll come over and they'll talk to you all day about Jesus, and then they'll start throwing in like
Yeah, they slowly pull you in.
Right.
Yes.
Right. We
Yeah.
have this in common. And this is, and kind of like what you were saying, like initially, because I like to bring it all back. But kind of what you were saying initially, when you look at what they were talking about with regard to polygamy, they do the same thing with the Bible. So you give
Mhm.
a rosy version of your particular faith and why your faith is awesome.
Yes.
I mean, but we believe that, because like you said, I mean, I think that in itself might be a video that I pursue later on, is that when you first come up, in fact, I know I'm going to do it because I wanted to do this show and the inspiration of this show, Big Love, and a
Yes.
comparison of the two. Part of that whole thing is that ideally, having a bunch of adults who are working for the betterment of each other and their children in a communal fashion
Mhm.
is very attractive. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I could have a bunch of people who support me and I support them and we support our kids and we're all working together to achieve a goal. That's incredible. The
Yeah.
problem is when you start to get into the brass tacks of it and you start putting in people's, hopes, dreams, aspirations, their wants, their desires, and jealousy, envy, and all those things start to come in. That's when it starts to break apart, I think.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you for your time. I really
No worries.
appreciate it. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
listening.
And
And I look
I'll
forward to hanging out some more.
yeah, I'll keep an eye out for your email as well.
Yes, it's about the Frankie situation. I wanted to give you some extra information and make your job a little bit easier because I was obsessed with the case. So
Okay.
yes. Okay.
I might be reaching out to you then because I've started delving into it and it's creepy as hell. Like it's
It's
creepy as hell.
creepy.
Yeah.
Yes, I gave you a lot of information. Take your time. Do it in chapters. It's a
Yeah.
book. I didn't mean it.
No worries. No worries. But thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good one, everybody.
Good night. Awesomeness. Let me just check something real quick. I think we're good. Yeah. That's the whole thing. Like, cause with I'll be doing a video on Ruby Frankie. That's the what they call a momfluencer. She had like the kids and she would talk about how she disciplined them and stuff, and turned out she was a psycho. Her and her partner in crime for real got 30 damn years because of how they treated their kids, her kids. That I have some thoughts on it. And I have some thoughts on it that I don't think have been ever covered on any of the other channels. So I'm going to try to give a unique perspective on that case. So keep an eye out for that. So easiest way to do that is make sure you're subscribed and ring the bell for notifications. All right, coming up to the stage next, we have Narina. Oh, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, James and listeners? This is my first time calling in.
Yes. How are you?
I'm good. I'm actually 21 years and I'm from the Caribbean.
Okay.
So you have like a little bit of a international viewer here. I'm quite young to kind of be in this whole Sister Wives fan club. I think I started watching Sister Wives when I was like 20.
Okay.
I don't know, something about the show just always was like interesting, seeing the dynamic with, the kids. And basically tonight I just want to talk a little bit about Robyn and, Brianna and Aurora, because we're kind of around the same age. And, something doesn't sit well with me and the way, I know you spoke about this, in a good bit of your live streams, but the way Robyn is with those girls, I think at their age, they are so attached to her.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of rubs me really weird, because I'm like, why do these girls look so scared of them in a way? They're always like crying, and I'm like, you don't be that way with your parents. I mean, I'm sure there are instances where some people don't have good relationships with their parents, but I'm like, y'all are always so sad and so like sort of like a fake vibes. Like I remember when Aurora came and she asked them like for Cody to baptize her.
Right.
And when she was crying, I was like, why are you crying? Like,
what is going
why
on?
crying?
This is not a tearful thing.
Yeah, like you should. Okay, you want your parents to be a part of this very like spiritual. This should be a happy moment. But it's like she was so scared to even talk to them about it, and it's not like. I don't have anything against her wanting Cody to be a part of this. At the end of the day, he is the father figure in her life and in
Mm,
their lives. I mean, they live in one house and everything, but you're crying.
right.
It turned me off.
Right, right. You know what? Because I think that there's two parts of it. The first part, I agree 100%. Like I think that if she went to Cody and she was crying because she was saying, Dad, I fell in love with this young man or this person, not a young man, but
Hmm.
I fell in love with this person. We want to get married, and I'd love for you to give me away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can see, okay, tears. Then I
Yes.
understand.
Definitely.
you know, or I want you to officiate the wedding because he's supposed to be this
Hmm.
prolific officiant only because he did two. But whatever, he did two marriages. Cool. I can see tears then because it's a joyous occasion. How about go
Yes.
down and join the church? I like you to
Yeah.
baptize me or be there to help baptize me because technically he couldn't baptize her in another faith.
Yes. And I
So
also, yeah, like I also, sorry to kind of cut you off there, but like
no,
I
no.
also find like Robin, she has a very, a Caribbean mother style. And why I say that is like Caribbean kids tend to live with their parents until marriage. Like it's
Mhm,
only when you're married. I mean, there are some cases where kids tend to, leave home when they turn 18, but it's very rare. It's very rare in our culture. Parents tend to shield their kids, keep them at home until you meet that one and you're married. And I think Robin has that kind of mindset where okay, she wants all her kids under her roof, be that family until they're ready for marriage. Because I kind of seen it with the way Brianna, Aurora, they are, and even with Solomon and Ari, even though they are smaller, is that same thing. Permission is needed when they want to do something. It seems like that's the vibe I'm getting,
mhm.
you know, from the dynamic. And
Right.
I'm just it like and as well, she doesn't really like to show us her home, the way they live on a daily basis. We don't get to see that. Whereas with Janelle, Christine, even Meri, we get to see those moments, the dinners they have, the little one-on-one time. We don't get to see that really with Robin to really like make a different judgment.
Right. Right. Well, because I think that when you look at the like how they're structuring their families, what's concerning to me is it seems as though even with Dayton, like Cody put Dayton out
Hmm.
and he lived in a trailer on in the parking lot or whatever in the driveway. There seems to be an obsession with them controlling the young ladies. Like
Hmm.
they'll call it protecting them, but for me, it just comes off as a source of control and power
Yeah.
over these young women and their destinies. So much to the point where they're unsure of how to proceed with their own lives, how to conduct their own lives
Yeah.
without the input and direction and guidance of somebody else. I have an
Hmm.
issue with this. I talked about it before. I have an issue with this, especially as a girl dad,
Yeah.
because I don't think that you teaching your daughter to look to a third person, another person
Hmm.
for her self-esteem, her direction, what she wants to do, hopes, dreams, goals, desires, all that, all onto somebody else, even if it's me, because in my absence, somebody
Hmm.
is going to fill that void. And that person, even if I have the best intentions and the best goals for her, and I have her best interest in mind, the person who replaces me or takes my place may not have that same
Exactly.
desire to do it. And so I think
Hmm.
you're hindering their ability to be able to experience life to the fullest because
Yeah.
you're basically crippling them or hobbling them so that they can't express themselves. Not to mention just a personal pet peeve, as you know, I have an issue with a person who can't be themselves around people whom they should feel the most comfortable being
Yeah.
themselves.
Yes.
If you are with somebody, you get linked to somebody, you hook up, freaky link, whatever. You hook up with
Mhm.
somebody, that person, you should be able to be yourself around that person before you're around yourself with anybody else. You should feel
Yeah.
safe to be who you are around that person. Share with that person your goals and your failures, your successes with that person. And if you don't feel like you can, then you're in trouble. Your relationship's in trouble.
Yeah, and I think that's where I feel like it's so weird when I see these girls on the screen, because Cody and Robin have been there. I mean, I'm adding Cody into it because I mean he has adopted these kids since they was relatively young.
Mm,
So he's the father figure, I would say, in their lives. Yes, they have their bio dad, but he's not really in the picture. So to be like you're saying, they need, like, you don't see them being open and being sort of happy in that setting. It
mhm.
always is always at all five. And yes, I know some of us reading some of the comments, people are saying yes, it's scripted, it gives scripted vibes. Like the entire way the scene was written. It's not
Right.
organic.
Right.
It's not organic. And I kind of just hoping that, I mean, we have a few more episodes to go, and I just hoping that the scenes are a bit more organic and we get to see those girls in their element.
Right.
We get to see them for who they are and their personalities kind of shine, because we don't see that. Because
Right.
we see a lot of Janelle kids, Christine kids, and we get to see their personalities. I mean, we saw those kids from, well, they are adults now. Majority of them are adults, and we saw them grow up on the show, but we haven't really been able to see that with Robin's kids, and I think that's sad. That's quite sad.
Well, because I also think that when it comes to like Robin's kids, there's a point, like anything connected to Robin and Cody, they want to try to they want to tell hero stories. They don't want to
Mm-hmm.
tell the stories of their failures. And because they're
Mm-hmm.
afraid of demonstrating anywhere they may have come up short, anywhere they may not have won, or, go out and buy fancy this or fancy that, or
Yeah.
expensive this or expensive that, they don't want to show any of the downsides. Because they don't want to do that, they do have to put in a scripted show. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
really think about it, them coming forward and saying, Mom, Dad, I'm interested in maybe perhaps at
Yeah.
21 years old, maybe going out on a first date and
Mm-hmm.
maybe talking to a boy I think is cute, or maybe going
Yeah.
down and joining a church. Like, that's so vanilla, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
so
It's
vanilla,
so
it's ridiculous.
funny.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
even make sense. What are we
Yeah.
crying about?
Yeah, the way it was set up to begin was like she just came in the kitchen. She was like, crying already, because sort of already have that tears ready to come out. I'm like, there's no way, this is like a conversation y'all just gonna drop in the show, like just gonna mix it in.
Mhm.
No nice setup, no nice normal conversation, nothing. And I think that's just it's just killing. It's just killing the show to a point where it's like, why you all even have them here? Like, what's the
Right.
point of them being here if we're not getting that raw, emotions? Because
Right.
it throws me off. But I am enjoying it. I mean, we don't know how long we have Sister Wives again, We don't know when this gonna like stop. So while we have it, I'm enjoying it, you know?
Right. No, I get it. I get it. I think that there's still some things that can be talked about and explored on the show.
Yeah.
But they have to start getting, there's that point where was it the old what's the name of that show? Real World. After a while you forget the cameras are there. You got to start being real. You got to stop
Hmm.
being fake. They actually started out on this show more real, more raw. And as time went on, they became more fake. And this is like across the board. Like, I
Yeah.
think that
I couldn't agree more.
it's becoming a lot more scripted and put together.
Hmm.
Everybody's trying to isolate and hide who they are. But
Hmm.
ultimately, that's what people want to see. Like, they tune into the reality show. If I want to watch a scripted show, I'm going to watch a good scripted show. I want to watch
Exactly.
story, like it's going to have a whole story arc, story development, beginning, middle, and end. Like,
Exactly.
I'm not going to tune into a reality show and watch a bunch of hacks try to
Yeah.
put together conversations, which is what we watched. Like as an example, Cody and Robin standing out there in the snowstorm in the driveway. I'm not watching that. You know?
And to top it all off, like the edits, like why are we getting so much flashbacks? Like we watch this show, a majority of the watchers are watching from season 1 straight down to the season 19. We already see these things a million times. Why are you editing back these clips that we've seen? We want to see new things. We want to see new footage.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to keep seeing the same thing.
Right. And I think that, again, that's part of the reason why I was saying early on, I don't know how long this show, like, I think the show is kind of cooked because if you have to go back and talk about what happened 3-4 seasons ago in order for you to make this season, then you're in trouble. It's like any relationship. If you're in a romantic relationship and you have to remember like 3 years ago or 5 years ago when you first met your paramour, for you to feel like anything is worthwhile because what's happening today is not really hitting any marks for you, then your relationship is pretty much cooked. It's over.
Yeah.
You know, it's at that point, you're going through the motions. Like it's not even real anymore. So, and I feel like that with watching this show. Like it's, you know, we're watching people who we're familiar with. It's like a bath. You're familiar with them. You're comfortable with them, but nothing new is happening. Nothing different is happening. So
yeah, I just hope, you know, for the future that the families they are well. You know, that's all I hope. I hope, like, you know, after the show finishes, that they start reconnecting with each other. You know, maybe after the show they would rekindle some bonds that were broken. Because you never know what could happen off camera versus what we are seeing. So that's all I hope for them. And James, I'm so happy I finally called in because I've always been so scared. Like I've been watching you for a very long time, but I've always been nervous. So it was really nice, like chatting with you. And well, I'm reading the comments. I loved it. I love calling in, so I will do it again.
Awesome. Hopefully, I wasn't too, you know.
No, I loved everything you said. I feel like I'm so much more like excited now. Awesome. But it was really nice. Well, so do take care.
There's a lot of people who like your accent, so
probably it's Caribbean.
yeah, they were very because when you first told me, I love the accent, you know. So
yeah. So you take care, James.
Thank you.
We will keep in touch. I will calling again.
Awesome.
Bye.
Awesome. Thanks again for calling. Appreciate you.
No problem. You too.
Awesome. Great job. See? It's not that bad calling in. I'm not a hard person to talk to. At least I don't think. You know who says that? People who are hard to talk to. I'm not scary at all. Yeah, you're not scary, Mr. Creeper Van. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, but thank you for calling in. That was a very good commentary. Coming up to the stage next, we got Kitty. What's going on, Kitty? How you doing?
Hey, James. I just want to say, no, you're a horrible person at all.
Right. I'm terrible.
Obviously. Actually, I have a few couple points to make out. One, if you are going to go through the Ruby Frankie stuff, I would suggest you go and look through Jordan and McKay, Funday Fridays, and Mormon Stories.
Okay.
Those three, absolutely did a phenomenal job. But if you want a different perspective, go through those three first, and then piece out your own story within that. So that's the first one. Secondly, I was very upset when Meri got catfished, and I was on her side for that. I'm like. Her being vulnerable for her sexuality was so horrific in my books.
Right.
And nobody actually ever talked about that until now, right?
Right. Well, it's such a taboo thing. Obviously, maybe I'm on Mr. Don't Give a Shit, but the whole thing is that I think that that's such a detrimental thing because the one thing that you do have control over, you absolutely should have all control and power over is who you choose to be with in that way. And for somebody to come in and take that from you unwilling is, in my opinion, is disgusting. Like, I don't care what you do or who you do it with, unless they children and people who consent, who can consent to this, adults
Yeah.
and people who can consent, do you, boo-boo.
Oh, yeah,
Heck,
definitely.
knock yourself out. But you don't have a right to trick people.
No,
Absolutely.
and that's where I was coming from with Meri, and like why I was a Meri fan right then and there. It's like, no, you guys don't understand. Like, she was being vulnerable to this person, and they literally stripped her, like, her sexual preference to its raw nerve.
Right.
And that was not okay with me.
Yeah.
And no. And another thing is, though, is I do agree with everybody in retrospect of this might be either might be the second last season or the very last season, because I don't think everybody's gonna like care about Jody and or not Jody.
Cody. Yeah, I'm doing it too. Like,
I know.
Cooter and Keeter. Yeah.
Cody and Rob and Sabin. See, I will always call Cody, but I will call Sabin because that's who she is to me anyway. Like, and I agree, like, right from the get-go with Sabin, I knew that she was fake right from the start. And I'm like, you're so fake. You act like about 80% of my family, which is kind of sad. And I do agree with a lot of people. Meri should have left a long time ago. I think even before the catfish, but that's me. Right. Other thing, and I think if the catfish was a real person, I think she would have been the first one that left.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's also part of the reason why I think that the setup was even more I don't want to say demonic, but it was more like it was so crazy.
Oh yeah.
Because one, it was the sexuality thing. Like you're tapping into especially somebody who grew up in like this fundamentalist religion, the whole expression of you being able to make these choices because of your orientation is fairly new. Like, and I'm saying this as somebody who's been around. I've been around, and I'm telling you, this shit is new. Like people being open and accepting of it is news. This is new news. And when you have somebody who's from that old school, I'm from a generation where people, you could ruin somebody's career by outing them as having a certain sexual orientation.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm kind of there with you as well. Like I don't find what they've done was absolutely acceptable at all. I've found it was very distasteful, and it could have ruined like not just Meri's life, it could have ruined everybody's life in her circle, including the other wives, including Robyn. So I mean,
well, because even with that, like you have that, then in addition to that, I firmly believe that Robyn knew about the catfish. She set it up, and you knew the person who was going to do it. You knew what they were, and you had your friends set up that way anyway. Also, you could create a division between her and Cody that couldn't be reconciled. And I think that was part of it too. And the fact that happened, like that, like I just, I do sympathize with Meri because of that. The whole setup was always there. Like Meri was left alone. She was isolated. She was deprived love, attention, and affection from her quote unquote husband, who, and then all of a sudden you set her up to you walk her to the door where she's basically going to cheat on you. And then all of a sudden it's like, I can't believe you did that. Did you set it up? What are you talking about?
That's the part that I don't, that's where the disconnect between me and Cody and Robyn is. Like, you guys set that up. You actually you actually did this to her. Why do you think she is the way she is?
Right.
Like, you guys set it up. You guys you basically destroyed herself, basically. And I just want to say hi, Betty. I saw her in the chat. So. But otherwise than that, the other thing that I would initially would say is that I really think that Robyn shouldn't have been in the family in the first place. What they should have done is they should have just stuck it with the 3, and they should have just done it with just the 3 of them. Even though, yes, it would have been boring, but at least it wouldn't have been so bad, to say the least. And here, this is my other point about Brady. The only reason why there was only 2 seasons is because Brady and his wives, which is my 5 wives.
Right.
He said this, and he said it on Growing Up Polygamy channel. I'm just paraphrasing. He said the majority of the reason why they only had 2 seasons is because him and his wives will not fight in front of the camera.
Right.
They refuse to fight in front of the camera. They would go and say, "No, excuse us for one moment," and they will go walk over to a different room and they will have a discussion right then and there. They will not fight. They wouldn't fight in front of the camera. And I think that was one of the reasons. I think the other reason was I think one of his wives was sick at the time. Like, she just recently found out that she had cancer at that time. And they said, "No, we can't do this. This is too vulnerable for us. This is not good. We don't want to have this particular item that's bothering, like, that's going on in our family, to be in the forefront."
Right.
And I know she still is going through cancer treatments, as I think still. I'm not 100% sure. Because this is what I heard from Growing Up in Polygamy's interview with them. And he said, but all of his wives were doing really, really well. Him and his wives are still together to this day, which is amazing, to say the least. And yeah, they do all have different dynamics and everything, and they still all love each other, and that. It's just their relationship with themselves and their kids and their kids' kids are so detrimental, and they're not doing it for the kids anymore. They're doing it for themselves. And I do agree. Brady said it was very, very hard to do polygamy, and he's like, I don't even support it. Him as a polygamist saying, I'm not supporting it, is a big thing for a lot of people. Don't understand that.
Well, because I think that he understands how difficult it is and how much actually went into it. But I think that there's also a point where, because I saw, I've seen him do that interview. I've seen that interview that he provided, and it wasn't just the fact that they wouldn't argue in front of the camera. It was the fact that the producers wanted them to argue more and have more disagreements.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't just like they had a natural disagreement with something. They're like, "Oh, excuse me, guys, we're gonna go in here and film." It was, "Guys, you guys need to spice this shit up, because we need to see some because that realistically, that's where, especially TLC, that's where their shows were. Their shows were based on conflict and controversy.
Brady said, they wanted them to spice it up, but they were like, no, because this is our life, and we don't argue all the time. There's no point for us to argue all the time.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that, again, this is why I wouldn't do a reality show, is because ultimately, if you do a reality show, this is also why I support, even though it would make for better TV if Christine started to open up about her relationship with David, because we really don't, I know people love David and stuff, but the truth of the matter is, from my perspective, we don't know anything about David. We just know that Christine says he's awesome and that he gets along with the kids, but we haven't seen David do anything. And the truth of the matter is that without you seeing that on the screen, and the whole relationship between David and Christine, is hard for us to judge where they are, one, but two, if you do see them on the screen fully, then you might see things where David maybe has a nickname for Christine that 90% of the audience will think is disrespectful, and he ought to be put in jail because he calls her this thing, mousetrap or whatever. He calls her whatever name he calls, little cute name he calls her. And you call her mousetrap, so you trying to say she's a trapper, but it's something that works between the two of them. And if we get involved with it, we'll ruin your relationship. I mean, I'm dead ass about that. We will ruin your relationship.
Yeah,
you will get divorced.
Oh yeah, no. I think the thing is that he actually called himself a burrito, like a pink burrito, and I'm like, I kind of sit there and I kind of laugh because we have heard that from his mouth and seen it on TV that he said that I am her pink burrito, and it's funny to know about that, but at the same time, in a way, I'm kind of glad that Christine and David don't let people know too much about the relationship, or even Janelle and her kids' relationship much anymore, or even Meri and her daughter or son Leon. I am so sorry. I was close to saying the other dead name, and I don't want to do that because it is what it is. And considering of what's going on in the world, yeah, sometimes dumpster fires are funny, but at the other same time, I mean, Trump, like the politic world right now, it is a huge dumpster fire, and I do agree with a lot of people saying that TLC does ruin families, and you can see that right from the get-go, especially right from the start of like Kate plus 8. Or Kate and John plus 8, sorry.
Right.
So yeah, and I think those are my points.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you calling in and sharing with the class. Awesome work. Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, have a great night. Fantastic. Kitty in the house. Give Kitty some thumbs up. Pop some hearts. Next up we have Caramel Kitties. Oh, the docu-series that I watched, I watched a really good one. It's on Hulu. It's also Discovery Plus. If you have Discovery Plus, they have Hulu shows on it. It's called Devil in the Family: The Fall of Ruby Frankie. Yeah, that shit was crazy. It was crazy, son. So check that out. But yeah, TLC over the years, TLC has ruined families. So, and I won't even say just TLC. Like, Bravo has ruined families, anybody who does reality shows, because most relationships can't, like, hell, you can't have a relationship where you share too much with your friends and family. Because the truth of the matter is, like, we talk about, like, I know Cody talks about, like, the cloak of charity. When push comes down to shove, we all have that cloak of charity. That's not something unique to Cody or the sister wives. We all have the cloak of charity. Like, something might happen. You could have a significant other cheat on you. They could cheat on you. And you might find it in your heart to get past it, forgive them, and move on with your family. But if you tell your friends, your family about what happened, they will never let that mother live it down. He or she will ride that shit till a grave. Okay, you're cheating son of a bitch. Like, it's just gonna be what it is. Like, they show up to Thanksgiving, all of a sudden they getting paper plates and paper cups. Well, we don't know where your mouth has been, so get them plastic forks, sir. Like, it can be ruthless. So yeah, having like strangers involved with your stuff and criticizing you, ain't even kind of like Christine and Cody. Like, I talk all the time about Isabel and Isabel's surgery and something. There might be a universe where Christine could have got past that, and Cody and Christine could have worked that out. But how are they ever going to get past it if I keep bringing it up? Just saying. So, and that also explains, like, to, again, like me trying to be on Cody and Robyn's side and give some explanation as to why they might do what they do, as far as why they do it. His way of protecting his relationship with Robyn does make sense, because if you let me into that relationship, I'm going to dissect it and I'm going to tear your asses apart. And you guys, I'm not saying I'm going to get you divorced, because I don't have that power, but I will shine lights on your stuff. So here's what it is. But coming to the stage next, ladies and gentlemen, we have Alexandra PF.
Hey, James, how are you?
What's going on? How you doing? See, this time I got it right, so no worries.
Yeah, you definitely got it right. I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing excellent. Doing excellent.
Awesome. Yeah, I've just been watching a lot of the carnival streams out of Trinidad this past week. So
Okay.
yeah, it's you've been fitting in between all the lives, so it's been good.
Trinis. Yeah.
Yeah. Not that I'm Trini, but I love the culture. But anyways, two things. One more serious, one more fun, kind of. So first thing about Robyn, she is getting away with, can we say murder here? She's getting away with so much because she is these kids' stepmom, right? So when she's having that argument with Cody saying, oh, the kids need you. It's like, what about you? You're their stepmom. You've been in their lives for the last 10 years plus. Like, what about you and your obligation to these kids? So I don't know, that really bothers me how she's just getting away with it. And we're just focusing on Cody's abandonment, but she's abandoning them too.
Yeah, there's actually a episode, because speaking of which, there's an episode in season 2, I think it's episode 1, where they're sitting around there talking about the financial responsibilities that Cody, no, it's episode 2 of season 2. Season 2, episode 2, they're talking about the financial responsibility. How does Cody do it? How does he manage it? And he talks about how I have Robyn and Christine at home and I pay for them to be at home. And Janelle, she kicks in a little bit and he does that whole song and dance. And Meri says, one of the benefits of us having our family this way is that we don't have to worry about a babysitter. And at that point, Cody looked over at Meri and said, she's not a babysitter. She's a mother in this family. And to what you just said, if you guys are setting your family structure up to the point where each one of these ladies is an active mother to these children, then they have responsibilities to these children. It's not Christine's kids. These are your kids too. And so you should be reaching out to them just as much as Cody is reaching out to them. I agree with that.
Right. And she's totally getting away with it because she's hiding behind him. Like she is just so conniving and gets away with so much. And I need to call her on her crap.
No, I understand that. That.
And the other thing is, the more fun thing is, okay, so remember when they're having Meri over the holidays and he's like, oh, I have to restrain my romantic inclinations towards Robyn because I don't want to make Meri jealous, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so these people have had live-in nannies with her sisters, her sisters and her niece or whatever, right?
Right.
Haven't you been, restraining yourself this whole time?
No.
Or have you been like paws on in front of all these live-in nannies? Like, come on, man, you should be able to restrain yourself. It's just, as I'm looking back at some of the seasons too, and I'm saying, oh, here's this live-in nanny and here's this one. And, and like, come on, you're used to having people around. Like you can't even walk around in your skivvies because you have, sisters-in-laws there. So give me this, don't, cut out this crap that you can't restrain yourself.
Right. Well, because I think that with restraining themselves, it's okay for them to have PDAs in front of people who are not wives. But see, here's the thing. And I'm glad you brought that up because this is something that has always kind of bothered me a little bit. They explained it as we don't like to show PDAs in front of each other. And a lot of that, when you read the book, Becoming Sister Wives, that first book they put out, a lot of that came from early on when it was just Meri and Janelle.
Yeah.
Because according to Janelle and Meri, they would, like, if they were all sitting in the house together and they were watching a movie, Meri would plop her ass right next to Cody and they would get under the blankets and they would basically be huggled and buggled up, snuggling and stuff. And Janelle felt like a third wheel. So this is something that kind of started early on. Like the seeds of it were planted. But I think that it hit a head later on when Robyn came into the family because that's where Cody wanted to be. He wanted to be up under Robyn and hugging and kissing and loving on Robyn. And these other ladies knew it. So no, they don't want to see, I don't want to see no affection because I'm not going to sit here in your house and you just, every time you walk by, you guys got to touch each other. And I'm reaching for you. I'm like, oh, give me a hug. You're like, oh, no, I'm good. Handshake. We're not doing that.
Yeah, but you still shouldn't have enough PDA in front of nannies and stuff that would make them uncomfortable. Like,
I don't think they care about people, though.
That's true.
I don't think they care about people. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, because you're a good person. You be like, you know what? I don't want to make people uncomfortable in my house. I don't want to be, tonguing them down, slobbing them down in the kitchen. Yeah.
Hiding under blankets with them.
Right, exactly. I don't want to do that. But these two,
Yeah.
the world rises and set apparently in their backyard, so they don't care.
Yeah. Oh, they're trash. And there's just no way that this can be sustained moving forward.
Right.
The storylines they're trotting out are just so, like, we don't even like the main characters. We're not going to like their photocopied images and their kids. Like, come on, we don't want this anymore.
Right.
And
right.
And I just, I was saying in the comments, I wish they'd have the producers do them real dirty like they did on the 1,000-Pound Sisters, when somebody would be complaining about, she had problems with like cockroaches in her apartment, and in the video they showed a cockroach behind her.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad for her, but it's funny. And I mean, like, the producer should do Cody and Robyn as dirty as that. I want that.
Yeah, well, because the new ones have started doing it.
Yeah.
And to me, like, the ironic part is, I think that the new production team, direction of the new production team is a little too late.
Yeah.
Because they'll get blamed for the show falling apart. Oh, so you guys started contradicting us, and that's why nobody's really interested in the show. But I think that they needed that earlier on, like that honesty earlier on. Like, they make a statement, oh, I never did that, and you show them doing exactly what they denied they ever did. I had no idea that this happened. And you show them, fully engaged with whatever it is.
Yeah.
We needed that honesty. And in addition to that, I also want to see what's going on, because that's the whole reason why, oh, you're being a busybody. That's the whole purpose of the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is like, if I'm watching a superhero movie or show with my kids, I want to see a superhero.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody better fly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To do something amazing. I don't want to sit through a Batman movie and never see Batman on screen once.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That's why I'm here. So I'm here for, like, to see not just the drama, like that's an easy play.
Yeah.
TLC does take the easy road, but I don't want to just see the drama. I can see the losses and the victories, and we focus on the victories, but I have to see it all. I have to be a part of it. And if you guys are just creating these moments, one, you're not good enough actors. And I mean this to the cackles of my soul. You're not good enough actors where you're pulling it off. So it comes off highly produced, and it's just poorly acted.
Yeah. And as we've said before, like, my thought is, like, give us episodes of how you guys started to move away from the religion. When did you take off your garments? When did you, how did you start losing your faith? Like, you can look back on it now and see, like, talk about that. Or, like Christine having a kumbaya, or whatever you call it, like a get together with her aunt and her mom, and, forgive them. Because remember when her mom left when Christine was 19, like, she didn't talk to her for a long time. And then her aunt, and that, like, have those moments of, like, coming together, and, her eating crow a little bit, and talking about how she came to the realization that, what she was in wasn't fair. Like, give us something more. And there are possibilities, but are they willing to go there? I don't know.
Right. And I think that's a fair observation. I think that's a fair critique as well. Is that especially with the aunt, because I did feel bad with the aunt, depending on what part of the country you're in.
Yeah.
I did feel bad about that when the one time that she was actually on the show, they, Christine avoided her, and then she put her out like, oh, well, she's scary to be around. I can't be around her because she's so scary. When all the aunt, like, from my perspective, all she was trying to do is she was trying to pull your coattails.
Yeah.
So especially because you are out now, and you're essentially saying everything that she was saying to you way back in I think it was season 6, when the aunt was on the show. When you're basically reiterating everything that she was trying to tell you back then.
Yeah.
It would be nice that if you guys could get together and say, you know what, I was wrong. I know you were trying to help me, but I just didn't see it, or I wasn't ready to hear that message at the time.
Yeah. And, what about, because I guess the aunt is very involved in like people that are leaving and supporting them, like people that are leaving these polygamous sects and giving them support, even just housing and stuff she does, right? So
Right.
like
Right.
maybe they could work, remember when they did that fake thing where the kids went to like paint houses or something? Like do something
Yeah.
real to help these people now that you have this big platform.
Right.
Like,
Right.
but anyways, those are just some of my thoughts, and thanks for letting me be a frequent flyer.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I think I have a message for you, a speak pipe for you. So I'll be hearing you this Thursday.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a frequent flyer these days.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. I enjoy people who enjoy me. So that's awesome.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for calling in. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Talk to you again.
All right.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Fantastic. Alexandra PF in the house, ladies and gentlemen. But she actually brought up a really good point with regard to the aunt, depending on where you're at. I've used both. The Lord knows I've used both. The work that she does, I think, is necessary because it's one thing for the OG3 to come out and call the religion a cult. It's one thing for them to come out and say that polygamy is not the best move or a great alternative relationship thing. That's awesome. But you do have a huge platform where you could talk about, safe havens and places where people can go. Because there are, like, whether we like it or not, there are people who may be in these situations who might watch Sister Wives, who might watch the reemergence of it. Like, from what I understand, they weren't really watching them early on because nobody in the polygamy circles really bought into it. But you might have people who are watching you now that you've made your escape, now that you've made that departure, now that the family is starting to separate, you might have people who start to watch the programs now and draw information from your successes now. And as part of that, it would be kind of great, like how they do when they do anything regarding essay or DV or, those hard subject matters, people deleting themselves. And you have like, the hotlines and things of that nature where people can get help. It would be, in my opinion, my humble opinion, it would be nice that if they had that connective tissue to these types of organizations where they could say, like, look, here are resources. If you find yourself in this situation, here are resources that are available to you that if you need help to get out, these people can help you. Because I think that that's part of, and I don't want to be, like I said, I don't want to be too much of a dick here, but I think that that's part of the responsibility of being in this position. If you spent 19 seasons promoting a particular lifestyle to only realize after, I guess, season 16 that maybe this isn't the best lifestyle, then, and you kind of coast and it's helped you to build your life and build your lifestyle and provide you with wealth and, economic opportunities, then I think you have it, kind of a duty to help people who may have entered into this lifestyle based on the presentation that you provided. Because even as Artwitch had mentioned earlier, when you listen to them first start talking about it, this seems like the ideal situation. You have 3 women, you guys are bonding with these, you have people who are not just your best friends, but people are going to help you raise your kids and provide for your kids. And somewhere ever to happen to you, you already have something in place, facility in place to be able to help your kids become these great human beings and well-rounded adults. That shit sounds amazing. When you want to go to school, actually, there was a guy on Seeking Sister Wives who literally came out and said that. And I've been saying this for years. I could see them saying this. And the guy got caught on tape saying that to a young lady he was trying to coerce to be a part of his sister wife little fiefdom, where he was saying, like, if you want to go to school, we got wives who can help you go to school and they could take care of your kids and all this, and it's at the low price. It's selling your dignity and your soul to me. Like, that's pretty much how it came off. But it was presented in a positive way. And that's what Sister Wives did for the most part, is they presented polygamy in a positive way to try to encourage people to, they say, to accept this alternative lifestyle. But realistically, with that, you'll encourage people to join this alternative lifestyle. And by doing that, you know, you owe it to them to be like, yeah, guys, this might not be the move. Hey, this might not be a good thing. This might not be for you. And if you're involved with it, if you took me for serious and you got involved with this, here are some resources to help you get out. Because we see the damage that it's caused, and I'll wrap it up with this, but we saw the damage that it caused when it came to Janelle. And I think that Janelle's instinct in season 18 is more the case for people who are involved in this relationship than what happened with Christine. Because if you recall back in season 18, when Janelle left and Cody stormed out, F you, get out. And he storms out. I don't care. He leaves. And when everything hit Janelle, she realized that she didn't have anything. She didn't have anything to her name. She was financially ruined. If he doesn't want to be gracious enough to help provide for her, she's done. And I think that there are people who are not only in that particular scenario and situation, but they stay in that situation because unlike Janelle and Cody's relationship, Cody is not just incentivized by his good, pretty, kind wife who encourages him to be kind to the other wives. Cody is incentivized by the fact that he's on TV. And his name is dog shit. If he were to do Janelle that dirty, that's what the only reason why I think Cody is still in line right now is because of their TV show. If this TV show goes away tomorrow and he still had access to the full bank account with all their money going into the TLC, all their TLC checks going into the family account, and he had the home sale money like he did from Las Vegas, he had all that money in that account, and they would have came to him like, okay, you guys are going to Arizona? Yeah, we're not filming in Arizona. We're going to cancel the show. We're just going to call it a wrap in season. I think that was season 15 when they moved out there, 15 or 16. They moved out there. We're going to call the show a wrap. We're just going to, it's cancel it. It's done. Him and Robyn would have emptied them damn accounts. They would have emptied them accounts because now they don't care what people think. I think they would have emptied the accounts. Meri, Christine, and Janelle would have been left high and fucking dry. And this is before Christine bought her house. She bought her house. She was fortunate enough when she bought her house before she sold her house. But at that time, Cody's name was on her house. So I think for sure they would have screwed them over. And I have an opinion on that too. So look forward to that. I don't know whether I'm going to do that as a live or if I want to do that as a video. But I have an opinion about that, why they bought them houses and how that shook out. So I appreciate everybody hanging out with a player. Had some folks. Oh, we got one more call in. Roz, what's going on, Roz? How you doing?
Hi. Hold on. Trying to turn off my TV.
No worries. No worries. I got you a little sooner than you thought. Welcome to the show. So I got you a little sooner than you thought.
Okay. I'm back on Cody. I think Cody, the women in the beginning, the reason they didn't leave him is one, because of definitely financial. Secondly, I think because that was my caseload for a long time, DV. Mm-hmm. And I could tell by whenever he even raised his voice or looked at them in a certain way, they looked downward, and they just had this personality like, whatever you say, I'll do. You want my money, I'll give it to you. That's how I think Janelle was. Janelle would give him the world. And at the end, I guess I don't know. I think her voice was the problem.
Hello? Arise, you cut out.
Was the main one. Hunter, I think, despised him. I don't know how you think about that, but it's something between those two that he won't even give them 2 words. But Christine, I don't think Christine would ever left. I mean, even though I think they would have waited on the surgery if Christine didn't have the money. I mean, it's really sad, but they would have still been there if there was no finance and taking the domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me. And I think Cody is selling something illegal to keep his finances going. I do. That's just me.
Okay. Well, you know what? I mean, to be honest with you, I'll say this. I have no evidence that Cody is doing anything illegal or nefarious.
Right.
However, just as a point, if I were to be involved with a person, friend or whoever, family member, and I know that they make X amount of dollars, right, doing the show or however they get their income. And then all of a sudden, it just seems like they have a lot of really, really, really nice stuff. Like, for instance, you had that one friend that doesn't have a job, but he always has a new car, designer clothes, and he's somehow able to come up with a down payment for a house.
Right.
Yeah, I would have questions about it. Again, I have no evidence that Cody is doing anything.
I'm sorry, Lizzie.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah, Lizzie. I'm good you put it there. Allegedly. Yeah. I have no reason to think that Cody, no evidence whatsoever that Cody's doing something illegal. None at all. Nothing.
I mean, although he, I don't know. This is just me, but I think, if he would have did that to me, we would have been having some hard. He would have had some hard days ahead of him. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't have been he wouldn't have got any love. His everyday, when we gonna settle in, when we gonna get it looked at. I mean, because the neighbors, I don't know, one lot over, they said they on one of those programs, they said they sold that plot for like $600,000 or $700,000. So can you imagine how much 4 plots or 5 plots are? I mean, that's probably well over $2 million that's sitting right there, and he's being evil.
Right. Yeah, well, because that's the estimate I saw for the land on Cody Pass is about a little over $2 million.
Yeah, I mean,
so yeah, it's and again, this is the estimation of like how much the land is or whatever is very flirtive. It's not a solid number. It's not guaranteeing that they're going to get $2 million for the land at all.
Right.
But
and part of it's on I call it a sewer line, but where that water's at.
Yeah, the poop pond. Yeah,
yes, exactly. I mean, I don't know. I think they made so many mistakes. I mean, if only the women would have spoke to each other. And I mean, I know they did it at the end, but early on, they were all afraid of each other or something. I don't know that. But I'm glad they're all gone, because I watch and say, oh my gosh, this is just VB over. Can you imagine? He showed his colors a little bit on air. Can you imagine behind closed doors how he acted?
Right.
I mean,
well, there's the was it an old saying, if you speak to a woman like that in public, I cringe or fear what you say to her in private. Right. There is another adjacent point to that. Cody is actively trying to rehabilitate his image on the show. And what you see, his reactions as far as a lot of these fellow cast members are concerned, is him putting his best foot forward in what he thinks not only will be acceptable to the audience, but what he thinks the audience would like to see. That's concerning to me.
Right.
Do you understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you think that, like, okay, yeah, if I yell at my wife and tell her that I never loved her, that's going to get him. Like, then how dark are you?
That mean, every time he got a chance, he told her that. I mean, who does that?
Yeah, he said he was singing it. He was singing it in when he was standing out there talking to Robin. Just because I don't love their mothers, because I don't love their mothers.
And to me, he didn't. On Note to Self, she said about these men and the older children. Do you remember that? Gosh, she spoke about that, and that if those older kids didn't give these men any attention, they just move on. They don't care.
Right.
I mean, so I don't know. I mean, he better not never get down because Robin's not going to stay with him. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when. And wait, okay. Then there was a part because I've been watching it back. Season 18 when they were playing that game. Do you remember the part when Cody kissed her daughter on the forehead or something? Did you not Christine? I mean Robin's daughter on the forehead or on the side of her face? Did you see Robin's expression?
Yeah. Well, the little microaggressions on her face.
She had this look like, why are you touching her? And then she regrouped. And it was weird. I mean, looking back at this series, I'm like, wow, this is like case study.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy.
How to Lose Your Lady. That's what they should have called this show. How to Lose Your Lady.
Right.
Yeah, 4 different personalities, and you can show how to lose each personality.
And okay, like in the last 4 years, with me, I lost a mother, a younger brother, and my father back to back to back. And I'm the one who had to identify my brother that was in my parents' house. And I felt so bad for what's his name?
Gabe.
Found
Gabriel.
Yes, because I'm an old adult, and that affected me. I can only imagine this child identifying him. Oh my gosh! I mean, and it looks like he's doing okay, and I'm glad he's getting therapy because that is.
Well, it's crazy. A lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot for anybody. And I agree with that. That's a lot for anybody.
I mean, I kind of get why they didn't. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth. I think they should speak about it. Then I say, oh, well, maybe not. I mean, Janelle. I mean, that's a lot for Janelle, and only been a year now, so I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of back and forth on that, but
right.
But that's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling in, Roz. I appreciate you.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Next up, we got Vixen. What's going on, Vixen? How you doing?
Hey, James. What's up?
Not much. Enjoying my Sunday evening.
Good. I have some points to make. If you think about it, all 3 wives have left. If there's a season 20, which they say there is, Robyn is the one who's going to be turning Cody upside down and pulling the money out of his pockets. What do you think?
No, absolutely. I don't think that she's going to leave him just yet. I think she's setting it up, though. I do think that she's putting the pieces on the board to be able to make her good exit.
Oh, absolutely. If you think about it, there was some information from another YouTuber. She got a letter from a family member from the ex-husband that got kicked to the curb. Remember David? I think it is. And he got kicked to the curb because, one, the Browns were having a show and she always wanted to be an actress. 2, she kind of took all the money from him. She blew him out. And he was broke and he had to file for bankruptcy, and then she took his kids. And if you think about it, she'll do the same to him. She'll do the same to Cody.
Right.
To know a person's character, you got to look backwards. You got to look what they've done to other people. That's what I've learned. So that's basically the gist of what I've thought about when I've been watching the show. And she's really shady. And I truly think that Sabin set up Meri. What do you think?
Yeah. I think that I think Robyn did set up Meri. And again, that's a situation where I think I would like to see, in order to close the business out, like if we're going to end the series, I think a great banger way to end the series would be for the wives to actually confront the wives, Cody, whoever, to actually confront them on the issues that they've had with them in the show. I think the good confrontation point for Meri is the fact that I think that Robyn, through her friend or her cousin, whatever, set Mary's ass up with that damn catfish. Like, you sent her down that path. So yeah, I want to see Meri, confront Robyn about it. And forget all the don't allow them to escape with the I have no idea. I didn't know. I was unaware. She must have been a really good actress. That's why she fooled me. Don't let her get away with that bullshit. Like, I want to hear her say, like, look, and then come with facts and evidence. Your friend said that. Your cousin said bop. When I asked him, because it's my understanding that Meri was told that this person, it was confirmed to Meri that this person actually exists. The catfish person actually exists by somebody connected to Robyn. So
Kendra was the woman,
right?
And the hacker was a professional. So I'm thinking she got paid by either Robyn or Kendra, because Robyn doesn't like to get her hands dirty. Remember?
Right. Well, I mean, Robyn's very good about being on the outside of it. Like, she's just involved. Like, so she's peripherally involved with a lot of the foolishness that goes on. So she's right on the outside. So when it happens, she's always present and there to see it happen. But she's far enough away where she can pretend like she had nothing to do with it, and it's a surprise to her too.
And be like, "Oh, yeah, oh, I didn't know." That sort of thing. And I don't believe it for a split second. I'm sorry. And
no, I'm not buying it.
Also, the other YouTuber that got the letter also said that it was a family member from David. I really do think it was Christine. Christine is the first cousin of David, the ex-husband of Robyn. So I'm thinking Christine probably had to sign a gag order. She couldn't say anything about Robyn and what she knew about Robyn, because she's saying the same story throughout this whole time. She didn't want a fourth wife, and it was just a slap in the face with the wedding dress. And it would just went on and on. She knew Robyn, and she knew her cousin's side of the story, David's side of the story, who now has cancer. And I don't know what's going on with him now, but they say that Dayton is, I don't know what happened to him. He fell off nobody has seen him all season.
Right. Well, I think that he stopped doing his show a while ago. Like, he's not participating actively in any parts or aspects of the show. Like, he doesn't do the you'll see him sometimes in the background of some of the events that they have at Robyn's house, but he doesn't contribute as far as like sitting on the couches or giving his opinion about anything. So I think he's just done with the show. It's a very good possibility that like these shows are hard on people who participate in them, and unless you're a named cast member, you don't get paid. So I probably wouldn't be volunteering to do a whole lot on the show for free either, because they just drag the shit out of you and you're not getting compensated for it at all.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, you just get the benefit of exposure. I don't need exposure. I don't need to be exposed. I'm good, you know.
I wouldn't do it either. But I really do think Robyn is next. She's going to turn him upside down. She's a Black Widow and he's a brown recluse because he can't stay put anywhere.
Mm.
If you think about it, he's got, was it you that said he's got ants in his pants and he just moves, you know, everywhere, every 7 years, whatever. He can't stay in one place. He moves different places.
Well, now, most recently, he's talking about moving to Europe.
See,
so yeah, it's like he can't. But I think that's also partly because when you stay somewhere, you get settled. Eventually, you have to deal with you and your shit. And I think that when it comes to Cody, like he's not willing to deal with his issues or his problems, so he just runs away from it. And the problem with that is you can't run away from yourself, because no matter where you go, there you are.
Exactly.
So I think that's part of the reason why he runs as much as he does, but he'll never find that peace until he finds peace within himself.
Yeah, you can't run from what's inside your head.
Right.
That's a quote from Alice in Wonderland. The Cheshire Cat says that.
Right. The wise Looney Tune Cheshire Cat.
How do you run from what's inside your head?
Right.
And I think he's kind of crazy. A little bit.
Yeah. I mean, he's got problems. Like the truth of the matter is, I think that kind of what makes the show is the fact that everybody has their own. Like I could run the whole list of, you know, where people might have difficulties and problems and things that I think might be the cause of why they act the way they act on the show. But ultimately, you know, with all those reasons aside about their histories, the truth of the matter is that you still have free will. Like, because I believe in choice. I believe that you do have choice. No matter how you were brought up or what you experienced, you have a choice. You have choices in life. Because otherwise, if you don't believe that you have choices, then you believe in predetermination. And if you believe in predetermination, then what you do doesn't matter. Because you're just going to do what you're going to do anyway.
Yeah.
And there's no changing. Like, I think that you can change. I think that you can improve. I think that you can change your circumstances and your situations to best suit where you want to have your outcomes at. And so, you know, Cody, he's got daddy issues. He's got issues with how he was brought up. He's got issues about not even as much as he tries to pretend that he's secure and he knows what's going on and he's confident. At the end of the day, I see a guy that's very insecure in himself. I see a guy who's very unsure of the people that he's around. The reason why he demands loyalty and absolution from the people that surround him is because at the end of the day, he's afraid that these people have figured out that in his view, he's not enough and he's not a good person and he's not what he pretends to be.
Exactly.
And so he demands them to show him that all the time. That's why he always needs attention. People who are confident don't need a bunch of attention. In fact, they understand that it's not always a positive thing to have a bunch of attention. People who've been popular in the past understand that being popular and famous is not necessarily a good thing.
No, it's not.
So, but with him, I don't think he has it. Robyn, she's got daddy issues. She's got, you know, I think that for a large part of her life and upbringing, she was neglected. And she had to struggle and try to fight for attention from people who didn't necessarily have time or the inclination to show her that attention. So when she gets involved in these types of situations, she's looking towards groups of people to be better than, to dominate, and to try to control. And she wants to seek that love, attention, and approval from these people, and that's why she demands it. And when she doesn't get it, it's so offensive to her because it's a reminiscent or it's a reminder of the way she grew up and how she felt as a child. So I think there's a lot of stuff that goes into a lot of the people. But again, I don't think any of that excuses how they treated these other individuals in these
Absolutely.
relationships.
It was a lot of smoke and mirrors with Cody and Sabin with the OG3. They did a lot of smoke and mirrors with those three.
Mm-hmm.
It was just sad. I thought it was really sad for Meri, especially. I wasn't too sure what to think of Meri. And then I'm like, oh my God. Once everything came out, of the information that was, about her, the melting down of her wedding ring. And what else did he do? He did so many things to her that,
right.
Like, how could you take that? But yeah,
well, because with Meri, I think that it was just a matter of him. There's a point of cruelty, and I think that was like the whole position he took with Meri. Like the whole point of it was cruelty. It was just, I want to hurt you and strip you of your dignity as much as I can for as long as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And it is kind of testing a boundary. So at first it might have been like something he said to her, but then after a while it's, I'm going to say something even crazier to you and see how far I can take it and how far I can push you before you go. And the ironic part is that as that goes on, I think that he actually started to develop a sense of resentment and disgust for her because of that. So the longer the more she endured, the more disgusted by her he was because she endured so much. Like, no matter what I do to you, you still gonna hang around. You know what I mean? And you're still going to participate in this. So she turned him off. And I think that that's also because of there's and this is just me pontificating because I don't know these people, but that also may be a direct result of the fact that this is how he grew up. And this is how he sees himself. Like, he puts himself in this derogatory state where he feels like his dignity is being shuffled and destroyed. And so he tries to destroy somebody else's dignity. So oftentimes you hate the most in somebody else what you hate about yourself.
Right.
And so the more he does that to her and the more she tolerates, the more it's reflective of him and how much he tolerated with his dad and his other previous relationships. So he develops a sense of resentment to Meri.
Mm-hmm.
And so she becomes a trade-off or a cutout for himself.
Yeah, he married Meri to get into this polygamous lifestyle. And then he married Janelle because she had a house for them to live in. Then he married Christine for her status, her blue blood. And then he married Robyn for her diesel jeans model type.
Right.
Wouldn't you say?
No, I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
I think you said that, didn't you? You said that too.
Yeah, I've said it before, but we are great minds think alike, so I don't.
Yeah.
I
was thinking that same thing.
Yeah, I think that a lot of this stuff is, I know some folks are like, "Oh, I said that, it's mine," but it's not. It is what it is. Other people can observe it because it's out there. It's clear. You know what I mean? What it is.
Mm-hmm. And you know what I find really interesting? Remember how Janelle said, you guys are going to, Cody and Robyn are going to ride off into the sunset with, on horses, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And then he has a horse ring.
Right.
Both of them, Robyn and Cody, both have horse rings, which are ugly. I'm going to say it nicely. They're ugly. But yeah, they were, how much were they? They were really expensive, I think.
Right. They were expensive rings. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it just was really interesting to me that they were horses when Janelle said that, they're going to ride off on horses into the sunset. Go figure.
Right.
Anyways, it was good talking to you.
You as well. Thank you for calling in.
I love your show. I watch it all the time. Sometimes I binge. I binge watch your show.
Awesome. I'll try to get more content, so I'll give you more binge-worthy expression in the queue.
You're awesome.
All right. Thank you so much. You have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Awesomeness. Next up, we have Caramel Cuties. What's going on? Caramel Cuties, what's happening?
Hey, I had originally got in the queue before you called Roz up, and then I got a call from my best friend who's in New Orleans, and it was drama. So I had to kind of kick her off the line real quick because I was like, I gotta catch him before he quits the live. And then I realized I don't know what I did with the notes that I wrote because I had some good points. But to piggyback off of what you were just saying with the last call. And what I took from you saying, like, Robyn has daddy issues. Hell, I truly think she kind of has mommy issues too. Simply because, her mom, for whatever reason, I won't say playing in poverty, but living in poverty, probably not sticking up for herself a tad bit more with her biological dad than, being stepdad or, spiritual dad, Paul's second wife. And, we got holidays after his main family got holidays. He came strolling in after, or like if she had him during the week, he'd come to St. George maybe on the weekend or every other weekend. So when Alice did have her time with him, it was like, yeah, I'm going to make it a honeymoon experience because I only got him for 2 days or maybe 5 days out of the whole month. Excuse me. And so maybe Robyn felt resentment towards her mom because her mom wasn't a first wife. Her mom wasn't, the head one in charge or the one that got majority of everything from the husband. And even from hearing, on what was that, Mormonism Live or whatnot, the podcast that Cody went on when he was mentioning that I guess Paul's first wife still argues about like she still has him in heaven. That has to be an issue that's been brought up amongst the wives, because why else would that be an argument? You know what I mean?
Right.
But it makes me think, because we all know, yes, Cody had daddy issues, massive daddy issues. And I think a lot of times we see in society more women that have daddy issues than the sons. But I wrote down hurt people hurt people. Like what he did to Meri was absolutely disgusting.
Right.
Cut the cord, let her go. And it real quick, because I can give you story times and we can be here all night with trifling people in my family. But I have an ex that we don't have kids together, but he did have kids. And I had my kids. And there were times where, like, he lived in an apartment complex that had a pool, and one of his daughters, whose mom lives somewhere that didn't even have AC and it's hot, she would call and be like, hey, Dad, can we go swimming? Well, of course, he lived at the other baby mom's house. And he'd be like, well, you got to call her. So instead of him making a decision, he would put it off on the other mothers of his kids for him not to see his kids. And that's part of the reason why we broke up, because you can't take care of your kids. You dang sure ain't going to take care of me. Not that I need him to take care of me, but you get what I'm saying.
Right. No, I hear you.
And like the breakup got to a point where I pretty much knew I could do anything and disrespect him, talk to him crazy. If I wanted to put my hands on him, he was going to allow me to do it. And he wouldn't fight me on it. And I'm just like, if you're going to allow me to just disrespect you like this, then I can do anything. And you're never going to check me. You're never going to be like, nope, that's wrong. You need to stop. And that's when I knew, like, it's just time to break it off. Like, it's time to go. And to see or hear that Meri says Cody told him, like, you put me through hell for how many years of our marriage. So I'm going to give that same hell back to you for that amount of time. And it got me thinking, you guys were seeing a therapist supposedly because they brought Robyn into their therapy sessions, which I think was the dumbest thing ever. But what did Pat, I think was her name, with the little afro, what did Pat or Nancy truly do for the Browns? Like, you're in therapy, but it never seems like they ever healed or got a solution to any of the problems that they had collectively or individually. And I know I've been in therapy, hell, even as a kid. And yeah, as a kid, I resented against it. I hated, I rebelled. But once I actually sat there and really listened to the advice that was coming my way, I wasn't as angry. I wasn't as hurt. And I started to get through the problems of my childhood, of my teenage years. I'm a former foster youth. So even those issues, we started coming to solutions. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, it doesn't, I don't know if the therapy sessions were just a part of a storyline, but it doesn't seem like they ever took heed to getting help. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I think that with regard to therapy and counseling, the only way those things work, the only way they take is if you actually want to participate in them. And I think when I watch Cody, because clearly you can't really do therapy on television, it's because it's not a safe space. You can't be who you are, you can't say the things you need to say because you're always guarded, which is always antithetical to any type of therapeutic treatment. So that being said, when I watched them do the therapy on the show, it always seemed as though Robyn and Cody were participating just enough so that they can arm themselves up with weapons for arguments later on. So it's not that you're going there trying to heal a situation. You're just going there trying to find advantage in the situation you find yourself in, which is always and again, that's antithetical because that doesn't encourage me to come in there. If I come in and I bare my soul in a therapy session only to have the things that I say in that therapy session thrown back up in my face next week when we get into a disagreement, I'm not showing back up telling anybody any more secrets. I'm done. So you're not there for the right reasons. I'm not participating anymore. So we might as well stop doing it. Why are we coming? Because there was even a therapy session where Cody flat out said, I'm not talking to you. I'm not taking responsibility. You're not blaming me for nothing. I want Meri to talk. I want to listen. And we're going to tell Meri where she's wrong. And that's what I think we use the therapy sessions for. It's just to me to have a third person, independent party come in and blame these women for all the failures of their relationship, everything they're doing wrong, so they can be culpable, accept their culpability on why the relationships aren't working.
Right. Which is so crazy to me.
Right. It's insanity. Insanity.
I mean, even as a therapist, I don't know if I would even agreed to I always thought it was weird that Cody took Christine to Galveston and they brought, I don't remember, was it their honeymoon, her birthday, whatever event? I think it was their honeymoon. But they brought Nancy with them. Right.
Yeah, the anniversary, yeah.
Or honeymoon, right, anniversary. I said honeymoon because I think I read somebody said something about it in the chat. My bad. So ain't no way. I'm not gonna go thinking I'm getting a romantic weekend, a getaway. We don't have to take the kids, and we bringing the therapist with us. Okay.
Well, the reason they took the therapist, she met them down there, was because they were experienced. This was actually a point where they started to experience serious problems in a relationship to the point where Cody wasn't sleeping with her.
Right.
That was the start of. That was really the fundamental break where their relationship was pretty much coming to a close. So, like you say, it's not when they kicked you out. You were done when they kicked you out. You were done way 2 weeks before that. That's not where Cody was. He was, because he went down. I think she was willing to try. That was his last real chance because she was trying to make the relationship work. But then when he steamrolled her and he was like, yeah, we're down here. We got to focus on the family. And by family, what he meant was you need to focus on me.
Robyn. No, being nice to Robyn. Right.
And that's the big picture you need to focus on. And she was like, well, what about us and our family? No, we need to focus on the big family.
Yeah, which
She
is
took her head and she left.
right. I get a lot of this is for show, for ratings, for TV, for money at the end of the day.
Right, absolutely.
I don't think I personally could ever bear all my good, bad, and in between sides on TV like that. But when it comes to how many seasons the show has been on the air, and yes, none of the people, well, let me rephrase that. Do I think Meri is today in 2025 the same woman she was back in 2010 when the show started? No, I don't. Same with Janelle, same with Christine. Robyn and Cody, I think, got worse as time went on. But I think in the beginning, they were showing who they truly were. And nobody either saw it, nobody meaning the OG3, or nobody believed it. Janelle called certain things, so you and Robyn are going to ride out into the sunset when it came time for the legal marriage to Robyn. So for Meri to divorce him. Christine called it from day 2, right? Oh, he's driving up the freeway to go see Robyn. He's picking Robyn and her kids. I'm losing my best friend, is what she said. Right. Meri, I think, is the only one who was truly in denial. And I don't know if a lot of that denial is because of the guilt she might have felt. Because in her head, it's, I brought Robyn into the family. Well, hell, 20 years later, we're finding out, baby, you didn't. Cody and Robyn did their own little hookup on the side that nobody knew about, supposedly, allegedly. Right. So I believe that we pretty much seen the tail end of the show. From what McKelty, I guess, is saying, they're already filming for season 20. I don't necessarily know, because I follow them in their personal lives. There hasn't been nothing major.
Right.
Other than, Janelle building her house. Well, Tata Farms.
Part of the issue is that even if they film season 20, the truth of the matter is that with these the way they structure these reality shows, this is not a SAG production, like a Screen Actors Guild union production. You don't get paid for filming. So technically, TLC could say, you know what? This next season is a wash. We don't see anything that's really interesting. We might as well just call it quits. So there is a possibility, as remote as it may seem, that they could discontinue the show tomorrow. They could just not bring it back, because they won't lose any. Like, the only thing they'll really lose is the production cost. So what it costs for them to send people down, because those people get paid, like the guys holding the cameras, the lighter, the PAs, and audio guys, they all get paid. So you'll lose that money. But they may say, you know what, it's not worthwhile because there's not a storyline here. There's nothing that we can show that's interesting. And that's what I was saying, like, even in the beginning of the live, is that at the end of the day, when we talk, even in this conversation, when we talk about this show, we tend to go back to the first maybe 9 seasons of the series. You know what I mean? It's very rare that you get into a conversation with somebody about Sister Wives and they strictly talk about what happened in season 19.
Right. Well, I got into a conversation at the grocery store over this week, yesterday. Hell, now that I think about it, we were in Costco and waiting to get one of the samples, because everybody loves the Costco sample. And one of the women were like, "Oh, Sister Wives or something." She was like, "I'm excited for it to come on this weekend." And I kind of looked up from looking at my list and was like, I don't think it's back on this weekend. And she's like, "Oh, you watch it?" And it's like 5 of us women and one man just having a full-on conversation for about 45 minutes about Sister Wives. And the man was the one that was like, "Oh, I started watching because my wife watches it. And she said that, oh, Christine left and it was such a huge ordeal." And I was like, oh, so that's what got you interested in watching the show? And he was like, well, yeah, my wife would always yell at the TV. So eventually I came in the room and started watching it. And so, of course, there we go.
Right.
But he didn't say, or a lot of them weren't talking about like the beginning. I think somebody threw out the original 11-day honeymoon and they thought that was ridiculous and we all laughed. But for him to say like his catch of the eye, like maybe I should sit down and watch this with my wife, is because Christine had finally left.
Right. But
So
that was 2
he joined the
seasons ago.
party at the end. Right.
Right. That was 2 seasons ago. What I'm saying is nobody's talking about this show. Season 18, nobody references what happened in season 18 or season 19. Like you might
Right.
talk about like, because I think people came back to the show and that's why they experienced a resurgence. Because
Mhm.
season 16, when she packed this stuff up, and in season 17, when Christine actually left, it was just confirmation of what people thought about these relationships or types of relationships from the beginning. So
Right.
it was like, oh, she finally left. Yeah, of course she left. Anybody who
Right.
would think about doing polygamy, nobody's going to be happy. So they're going to leave. And then she proved them right. And then so that's the part where they were like celebrating the fact they proved them right. But now it's at a point where what else you got? Okay, I'm right.
And
You guys left. It was terrible. What else
right.
you got? And they
Janelle cussing him out, and that's pretty much it. Because
right.
the consensus was they were proud of Christine for leaving. They were proud of Janelle for finally basically telling Cody F you.
Mm,
But everybody's still looking around like, well, what the hell's going on with Meri?
right, right.
So yeah, no, I feel it, and it's hilariously funny to have these conversations out in public. But I get it. There's a lot of us out there who are kind of addicted to reality TV, whether it be the housewives or whether it be sister wives. And
Right,
so
right.
if it does go another season, it'll be interesting to see exactly where the storylines take us because there hasn't been anything exciting. I mean, maybe if they're going to show us the footage of how child support court goes and custody of Truly, but I think we kind of all know how that's going to end up. And sad to say, I think if it is a judgment for Cody to pay, whatever the dollar amount is going to be, I don't see him rushing to go pay it. So
Yeah,
sadly,
yeah.
Christine may just be lying in wait or looking to see when Robyn's next $60,000 purchase of American Dolls is going to go through because that we can talk about their spending habits all day long, and all it does is just tick us off in the end because they're ridiculous.
Yeah, well, that because they get away with it. But
That too.
I think that it might be interesting to be honest with you. Like as a quiet aside, it might be interesting if Christine actually gets a judgment of support, which she'll get. I don't see why
Hmm.
she wouldn't. Uh, if she gets a judgment of support, and then they spend season 20 following Cody around trying to avoid police because he's a default because he hasn't been paying his child support, and they looking
Yeah,
to
no,
lock his ass up. That's a winner.
right.
I mean, that would
That
be a
might
winner.
be interesting.
That might be a chart topper. Like I will watch that season
Right.
for sure. You know, the damn
We're
Christine
seeing the
put
new
this
the new
child support on me.
McMansion.
Yeah,
We're
right.
seeing her Robyn peering out the window or walking on the property with the gates locked because they're not letting nobody in, including camera crew.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
right.
might be pretty interesting. But
I had to run out
at
of
this
Walmart the other day. I saw a van pull up. I thought it was them. You know what I mean? That shit be funny. I'll watch that.
I mean, yeah, I don't see Cody, Robyn, and their 5 kids' lives pretty interesting. I mean, Dayton, I think would at this point would probably spill some of the secrets that they got, just because he looked like he's fed up with the shit, anyways.
Hmm.
But the rest of them are. I'm over the cry on demand. I'm over the over antsy and oh, like I suffer from anxiety. I've never been as bad as Aurora is. I don't like being in crowds. I don't like being around a lot of people. If I'm in an elevator and it's more than 3 people, I'll step out and just wait until it's empty and I can be by myself. Like I'm claustrophobic. I don't do any of that. If I'm in restaurants and it starts to get packed, I sit where I can see the exit at all times.
Hmm.
I've never cried about asking somebody to come to my baptism or I don't understand. It's like it's cry on demand, but there was no need for the tears.
Right.
but she's
Right.
a lot like her mother. I mean, they both the girls are, sadly. So I don't see a season of them being interesting. But
No.
we shall
No.
see.
Yeah, we shall. We shall. And like I said, I'll watch it. I mean, if it whatever happens, I'll watch it either way. But I'm a little skeptical. I don't hold a lot out for the prospects of the show. If they keep going the way they're going, I don't think the show's gonna last. Like, I just don't think it will.
Yeah,
They'll
no.
burn through their audience too fast.
Right. Teresa says next on Cops, I think it'd be on the world's dumbest criminals because
Right.
that's where Cody's headed for sure. All right, James. It was
All
a
right.
quick take. I like ditching my bestie to have a conversation and then to debate with you guys because now I got to call her back and figure out what's going on once the live ends. So
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And tell them I say what's up. Tell her I say what's up.
I'll
Hope
tell her.
everything
She's not
turns
a fan of
out
the show, but she don't watch the show. But if you start having conversations about love after lockup, trust me, she'll be your number one fan because her and I go back and forth on that show all the time.
Yeah, I plan on doing that. I want to do I want to do something about the Love After Lockup. They did the true crime stories. I just wanted to get through them so
Yeah,
I could give a more complete analysis of it. But I do have
yeah,
opinions about that, like the crime stories, how they present it, how they talk about it, and how it's like how it's basically glorified. Because I do think that there's
yeah,
a aspect where they come in and they're like, oh yeah, I was making this much money, da, 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 and it's enticing people to try to make these types of mistakes. And I don't think they're
right,
being completely honest about everything that's involved with what the life and lifestyle that they were leading. Like there's a whole lot of gaps that's
right.
left, what I mean, that I think need to be talked about. So yeah.
See, I haven't caught up on that. I think I'm on the second episode now of where they're innocent but proven they got out exonerated
Mhm.
prisoners or whatnot. And so I'm watching the second story, the guy from New York and how he's, waiting to get his check or whatnot. So I gotta catch up.
Yeah.
I've been slacking these last few days on my binge watching of certain shows, but I said this week I was gonna finally get caught up because I got a whole bunch of free time on my hands. I handled business this week, so next week I can kind of sit back and chill for a bit.
There you go. There you
You
go.
know.
Get yourself together. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I'm in my laughter phase, so I'm enjoying a lot more. The last couple of weeks was in the depression and sad phase and
Right.
stressing and worrying phase, but now I'm back to the laughter phase because I'm blessed and everything's lined up the way it's supposed to, and
Right.
I call it my vacation days because I ain't in a rush to go back to work, so I think I'm good.
There you go. There you go. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. And besides, what it's kind of one of the I think in these types of situations, uh you always have the initial shock portion of it. And then
Hmm.
once you get through the shock part, you realize like I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
be all right. And when you first hear it's like, oh shit, it's over. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's
right,
done. But after
right.
a while, you're like, you know what? I survived before this, and I'll be here after this. I'm stronger than them. Like they
Right.
all
Well,
through extra
what I'm gonna be all the way honest right now. As a single mom, it did worry me because the
effort.
emergency funds only stretch so far.
Right.
I can't even cover 1 month's rent with what I have saved up. But but my son came home and he's real quiet. Like he watches me like a hawk, but he doesn't say much sometimes. But he came home with a work permit application and he like slid it on my bed. And when I looked at him, like I call him Papa, I was like, Papa, what's this for? And he goes, I want to be able to help out, Mom. And he's like, I know, it's hard on you right now, but I want to be able to contribute. And it broke me. Like, I don't like crying in front of my kids. So, of course, the tears, I had a Robin moment. I cried on demand. And once I calmed down, I was able to tell him, like, you know how you can help me? Do your chores. I shouldn't have to come home and ask you, to mop and sweep the kitchen floors, or did you pick up the dog poop in the backyard, or whatever the case may be. I
Right.
said, your number one job is to get your grades, which he is. He's an honor student. He gets A's and B's. So I don't have a problem with him in that department. But I told him, that 1C you got, I need you to bring that up. Those B's, let's work on getting those to A's. And I said, if you want to help me, that's going to help me more than stressing off of trying to get you from school to practice because he does sports, then now to figure out where you're going to try to work. And I'm okay with that. You got
Right.
time to be an adult. You got the rest of your life to work. At the end of the day, right now, you are a child. I need you to stay a child. But like I said, him sliding that to me, it broke me. Like I had thoughts like, oh, you're a failure. Your own kid is trying to go get a job before you. And then I had to step back out of my own issues and be like, hey, life happens. It wasn't like I was let go because I'm a horrible worker and the track record was just bad. It's the timing. It is what it is.
Right.
I've always been able to land something good. I can do it again. I'm okay. And I let my son know, like, hey, we're good. And I kind of showed him, like, look, this has been approved. This is okay. This has come through. You don't have to stress and worry about it. So he was able to ease his stress as well. So I was just like, we will be okay. No worries. And let me handle that stress. That's not for you to worry about. So
Well, I mean, it's a kind thing. It's a kind gesture, though. It's a nice gesture.
Yeah. So now I'm in my laughter phase. We laughing about it. Like now it's just a joke. You know what I'm saying? So the hustle's back. We doing what I gotta do. But yeah, I got some free time. I'm gonna catch up on the Love After Lockup. I'm definitely gonna look into the Ruby Frankie on, you said, Discovery Plus and Hulu.
Yeah. So it's Discovery Plus, not Discovery. It's on Hulu and Disney Plus.
Oh, so Disney Plus.
Yeah, Disney Plus, they have it without commercials. So
I like that even better. Okay, got it. I'm on it. So we'll have more to discuss next weekend for sure.
There you go. For sure. But thanks so much for calling in. Appreciate you.
No problem. I'll see you in the chat.
All right. Awesomeness. Yeah, that a lot of good things happening. Let's get some hearts up for everybody who called in. I appreciate you guys. You guys kept it super chill in the chat. I appreciate that as well, guys. We have some things coming up this week. I am going to go live. Of course, Thursday, I'm going to have the Speak Pipe show, where if you guys leave a message on speakpipe.com/MyTakeOnReality, I'm going to be I'm going to play your messages and answer those messages. Again, if you don't want to have your message played, just leave a quick message, little blurb right before the message starts. Like, don't play it. This between me and you or whatever. If you want me to describe the message or your perspective, that's fine. I could do that. Say it in my words or whatever. I could do that. If you want to leave it an anonymous message, I'm okay with that as well. I'm sympathetic to that too. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Before we go, let me give a huge shout out. Make sure we give some love to Lizzie B and Caramel Cuties holding it down. Oh, wait. Before we do anything else, Lizzie B gifted a membership. Thank you so much, Lizzie B. I see that somebody received it. That's awesome. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. I am going to do a members live, I think maybe tomorrow, I want to say. Do one tomorrow just to say hi to you guys, see what's going on, maybe talk about some things I have kicking around, like in the some irons in the fire that you guys might be interested in, some content that you guys might want to see in the members chapter. It's not that deep, guys. I will be doing some content. Like I said, I'm not slowing down on my other content, so I'm going to have to roll some content out. I do have some new things here to hopefully help streamline some of my process so I can get more content out, which I'm very excited about, at least to get things rolling. So we have some good things coming. So I want to make sure I give that huge shout out to the Mega Mods. Thank you guys for holding me down at the Lizzie B, Caramel Cuties. I didn't see Brittany Not Brittany, but I give her a salute. She might have been busy tonight. That's cool. Thanks to everybody who called in. You guys had great commentary. It was a lot of fun talking to folks. Again, I'm trying to create as many outlets for you guys to be able to reach out and give your perspective as possible. So you have the call-in shows that I do where you can call in, use the link. You have SpeakPipe where you can leave a 90-second message. And we can play that and have a whole response on that for people who feel more comfortable with that. Or if you guys want to send me an email at MyTakeOnRealityQuestions@gmail.com. That's also a great way to reach out to me. I'm available. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with a player. I appreciate you guys. Let me take my headphones off so I can hear myself. It's amazing. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody for chilling, being patient with a player. as we put things together. Hopefully they can get this whole season and everything worked out on Sister Wives and some of the issues that they have as far as like content is concerned, so that way we can continue to enjoy the Brown family. If they don't no longer want to do the show, I understand that, and I wish them the best moving forward. But let me give a big shout out to everybody in the chat, everybody who called in, as well as to the Mega Mods. Thank you guys so much. But thank you guys. You've been awesome. That's my take. I'm James. This has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out. You guys have a great night. A big shout out to Betty. I saw you called in. She might have got taken over by the pup. So give the fur baby a hug. But I'll see you guys later.